How are you? No, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see a couple of them. That's the relay station.
They're tiny. I don't
They don't. I think that's the wrong path.
Hey, Charles. What are you doing over there? White guys all hanging out down there. I saw that last night.
Well,
Yeah. Trying out internet tour. Almost man. That's good. Progress. Some of the fun begins. Yes, dear.
awesome.
It's not her.
Oh. Yeah, and then sure that we work at just waiting for the same.
Luke and Laura. Dr. Steve.
Yeah, no, I'm at.
Yeah.
I know, but.
Good, I wouldn't have the Wi-Fi.
You don't need one of the rolls with it.
Oh, yeah. Newbies, right?
All our data. Which. You know something. My head. I'm sure.
That's what we used to do, right?
Are you ready, Mr. Rossetti?
Can you guys just give me 1 second? I logged in through Google and not the app, and it's a little not the same. So I'm just gonna sign in again. Maybe.
Make sure.
Better.
Are you with us? Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Virginia Barger. I'm chairperson of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is Wednesday, March 15th, 2024, and the regular meeting of the commission is here being conducted in the Shelton City Hall auditorium and via Zoom is hereby called to order at 6:02 p.m. This meeting is also being carried live on YouTube. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I invite those participating in the voting to do the same. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's start off with the roll call of the commission. Please verbally indicate you're present when your name is called. Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Commissioner Parkins. Present. Commissioner Ticky.
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Cristiano.
Present.
Alternate Commissioner McGee.
Present.
Myself, Commissioner Harger. Mr. Rossetti, our administrator. Ms. Castro, our assistant administrator.
Present.
Mr. Panico, our consultant. Tony's on mute. Tony, are you on mute? Oh, Ms. Renassos, our recording secretary. Just on mute. Okay, Mr. Panico, our consultant. He is there on the screen.
I'm sorry, I think I'm hooked up now, aren't I?
Yes, you are. Okay, so you're a president. For the
Somehow
record,
cut off.
okay. For the record, Commissioners Laskos and Matto are not available for this evening's meeting. Alternate Commissioner Cristiano, you are being seated for Commissioner Laskos, and alternate Commissioner McGee, you are being seated for Commissioner Matto. Gentlemen, would you please acknowledge that you understand this?
So,
Thank you. Our first agenda item is an enforcement update by Mr. Ron Bea, our zoning enforcement officer. Mr. Bea, you have the floor.
good evening, everyone. This is the zoning report, the year report for September 23 to February 2024. Thanks to Ms. Castro too for helping with organizing this as well. The first page is basically going to show you the online permitting process that we've gone through. I believe that started July 6th. That shows you each department and what their function is. I won't bore you with the details. As you can see, the building department has several functions. I'll focus on planning and zoning, which we do business occupancies, home office, DBAs, sign permits, and complaint forms. As well as, you know, any building permits have to go through us too. They go through the wetlands process and the planning and zoning process.
But those are all the functions that are now online.
Yeah, anything that we did physically by paper and pen are now online, including complaints. That's 100%. And it's an excellent program. I think it's very user friendly, and I find it much more efficient than the old process. So the next page is basically the certificates of compliance process. Since September of 23, as you can see, we have attached additions 9, detached structures 8, pools 4, business occupancies / home office DBA is 112, in-laws 3, signs 37, decks 26, new construction, new homes 12, new commercial 3.
Down at the bottom, you see something about 71%.
You know what? Yeah, the amount of COCs processed has increased by 71 since the 2023 report that we did, and this from the spring of 23 to the fall of 23. Yeah, so that's been quite busy. So as you look at this next page, this gives you a little brief outline of what happens when someone files a complaint with the office. If complaints are logged in, they'll come in via OpenGov. They'll be assigned to the ZEO. Just like the standard workflow provides the ZEO to go out and visit and assess the property to see if it's a violation and what type of violation, and to make the different steps that we need to gain compliance. Additional visits or referrals are able to be added as needed. We are able to make notes. We can see them; they're not visible to the public. So we are able to interact with not only on the complaint side, but also on the permit side. When someone applies for a permit and we need something uploaded like a plot plan or something like that, we could send a message, makes it much more efficient. They upload it so we can move the permit along if needed, or determine if they need to go for a special permit or a variance.
When you say that you make notes, are you on the field with a tablet?
Yeah, yeah. Like today we did it. We went through the CEO. You take a picture of the house, upload it. This way we have a picture that goes with the CEO. This way you could always, have that for reference.
And you also mentioned something about free visits. So if you have an initial visit, and you go back to the times, the violation has not been.
Has that been corrected, or then we start the process of getting out a letter, start a process like that. So, and go from there. Well, I mean, how do I say that?
Does the complainant have to identify?
Well, they do have to put themselves in on, we don't go
You don't
ahead
tell.
and tell, but it's not like you'd be able to call in before and say, hey, I live at whatever, I don't want my name.
Right.
So they do physically have to, I think that part of that, when they have to put their name up, I think we've seen a slight reduction with people that they think, they get nervous, maybe I don't want to put my name out there.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
When we talk to them, we kind of reassure them, listen, this is not going to.
Public can't access that
Right.
file.
It's not correct. Not like the world can see, what's going on. So
What are some of those
water right now.
what is it?
Water.
Water.
Yeah.
Going from one property to another?
Just we've been inundated with water since the summer of 23. It just hasn't. It's 65 inches of rain in 2023, and we haven't started out much better in 2024. So the ground is just saturated and creates a lot of problems, not only just for residents, but for our sites, the active sites. But we get all kinds of complaints. We get light complaints. We get noise complaints that we refer to the PD. We also get complaints that someone may be building something without a permit. So, it's a wide variety of issues.
We have abandoned vehicles.
Yeah, you get a lot of, you get some, not as many anymore. I think we got a pretty good handle on the ones that were backlogged that we corrected. But yeah, you're gonna get the junk cars, something like that, yeah.
And when you get a complaint that has something to do with, it's got a pile of rubbish in the yard, does that also carry over to your role as dog enforcement?
Does either or, yeah, if he's, yeah, exactly. Those blight, we get those all the time. Those are quite a few of those, especially as the winter is over. You find more people coming out, and you'll start noticing a lot more. Hey, my neighbor sent this stuff out up in the yard, stuff like that. Yep. This also gives us the opportunity to, if you look at the bottom paragraph there, to refer stuff to other departments as needed. PD being one of them. We find a vehicle, someone may complain about a junk vehicle. It may not be on the property, it could be in the street. That becomes a police matter at that point because it's on a city street. So it gives us, that also it's a good tool to help us interact with other departments as well. So I'll move to the next page. So in the fall and winter, we had extensive rainfall, which has led to the entire office being inundated with the flooding issue, soil and erosion. Site visits have had to step up to probably multiple times a week Because it doesn't seem like the rain wants to stop at this point. So you need to be out there and constantly monitor to make sure that silt fence and all the other soil and erosion measures that are put in place are staying in place and they're not getting compromised by the amount of water that we receive. And now I'll segue into the next, which I know I mentioned this in my last meeting in September about the signage in the windows. I won't make any excuses. I haven't been able to address it the way I would have liked to because of the amount of time that I've had to spend dealing with water issues and constantly having to monitor a site and make adjustments as needed. So it's been that, plus I wear a couple different hats with wetlands and blight. So it's something I want to and will make a conscious effort to make significant headway before we meet again on that issue. We lost, yeah, we did lose somebody. He went to engineering, yes. So yeah, we lost, and then we had another employee had an accident, so she's been out too. So we've been a little short. So and we continue to remove the ground signs, as you can see. I think the town looks in good shape that way. Banners, lawn signs, and basically just increase the site visits. Going back to the water issues to ensure the upcoming projects are being properly maintained. So that's what I have for you. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Bennett? Thank you very much for coming in.
Have a good evening. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, our next agenda item are applications for certificates of zoning compliance. I understand from Commissioner Perkins that the zoning committee met to review each of the top 10 sign applications, along with Commissioner Amato, who's not here tonight, and Commissioner Kelly. So let's go through them. Commissioner Perkins, what's the recommendation of the zoning subcommittee for the first one, All Pets Corner, 356 however?
We have no issue with that. Organization to
Okay, so this is a new occupant for the new building downtown,
Correct.
the new plaza.
quite a catchy sign.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Perkins? Is there a motion for the sign application? There's a motion from Commissioner Kelly for approval. And is there a second? Okay, Commissioner McGee. So, a motion made by Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Amato to approve the All Pets Corner. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show that the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay and no commissioners abstaining. Commissioner Parkins, this recommendation for the second application, Oasis Barbershop.
Yeah, this is the location where Ferris Lake used to be, right next to the flea market there. Again, we have no concerns with the sign and recommend that it be approved.
Okay, so the applicant chose not to go along the area right above the doorway and the windows. Okay.
As you see it,
Yeah.
the whiteboard.
Okay. Any commissioners have any questions about the second application?
My only question would be, they didn't want to make it bigger, it's a little small.
Well, that's my whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
it's-
just wanted to-
So we asked them that, they were like,
The applicant wasn't.
I can answer it. We didn't want any bigger or anything. So.
Oh, there you go.
Sir,
Okay.
come on to the table, identify yourself, only because we have to have everything on the record.
Sorry,
Up here.
never done. Oh, up here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Never done this. I'm ready to church up for a week. Never defined the bigger.
Okay. Usually we have to sort of like, could you scale back your stuff?
Right, yeah.
We don't want to go too crazy.
Okay, all right, very good. Good luck on your business.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Guys, thank you.
All right, so, does any commissioner have a motion on this particular sign application?
motion for people.
Okay, that's Commissioner Tiki. Is there a second?
Aye.
Commissioner Cristiano? your, motion, your second the motion to approve? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show that the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay or abstaining. Commissioner Perkins, what's the recommendation of zoning subcommittee for the third application, Sugar Llamas?
For Llamas,
801 Bridgeport Avenue.
I guess it's their, I think I've read it's their first facility in Connecticut, this is in Fountain Square.
Mhm.
We had no issue with that, we got to remind that time.
Very good.
You know what kind of business it is?
Sugar candy. Candy, son.
Llamas.
Interesting name.
That is,
Okay,
yeah, we're all in favor.
all right, so is there a motion to approve?
Question?
Sure.
So is this sign a little too big for our sign regulations or because of the PDD, do we have wiggle room?
It fell in line with the square footage.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm. All right, so, Commissioner Ticky made a motion to approve. Is there a second? Okay, Commissioner Kelly seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show that, the vote was 6-0 and no commissioners voted nay or abstained. Okay, application number 4, Vivian.
The electric car facility, that's up on Mountain View, we had no issue with their signage either, it's a monument sign. There's another, sign as well, the front view. No? Thought I had a front view, what it was, didn't it?
There's, you think of this? There's a lot.
Yeah, it was the monument sign that just basically said what they, you know, are, so.
A lot of these seem to be interior signs with the, all doors and such. Mr. Rossetti, this, facility being used yet? It's still under construction, isn't it? Not on?
I don't think they,
It's not heavily. Yes. Is that?
yeah, that's basically.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's
fine,
this one.
fine, yeah, it's very plain, very,
Professional, they just show it as on the
now they will show it on the
property.
property.
Oh,
Yeah, but that was the monument sign.
mhm.
There was a lot of literature.
They included their interior signs and
Yeah. Included their entire signage plan.
Mr. Rossetti, if you can bring up sheet 4 on the bottom corner, it says sheet 4. Okay, so scroll it down.
Right.
Move it
oh, I'm sorry.
Can you move it to the left a little bit? We'll go back.
Am I going backwards or sheet 4?
Driving.
Mr. Castro, are you controlling it?
Yes.
That's sheet 4, you had it up, you're going the other way. Go way back to the top.
Way back.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. Up, 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 up. Up, up, up. Up.
Sheet 12.
Oh,
Am I going the wrong way?
Oh, you're going the right way, keep going.
Moving it up to that bottom.
Yeah, keep going, keep going.
What page you looking for?
Page 4, keep going,
Well, this is 19.
keep going. Okay, go. It says page sheet 4 on the bottom right corner.
You had me going the wrong way.
Slow down.
Just
Okay.
sheet 4.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you slide that to the left?
So that the participant, panel is
Yeah.
not blocking.
Move your faces.
Oh, you have your panel's different than my panel.
All right. So right opposite Mr. Panico, you see where it says Rivian up in the top right corner of the building? That's the exterior sign. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any further questions for the zoning subcommittee? Okay, so there's a motion to approve Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second? Commissioner Cristiano, so all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Record show that the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay or abstaining. Commissioner Perkins, what's the recommendation for the fifth application, Project Dance? 858 Bridgeport
We
Avenue.
just decided to go with what's being proposed.
Okay, so that's no changes.
That's discussion. Okay. I don't know, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we just decided to go with it. Basically, that's what you see up in the top corner,
yep,
the black background. Which is
Okay.
what the nighttime.
It's 1,200 square feet.
and it's illuminated at night.
It's illuminated at night, that's what it will look like.
Okay.
What's shown there to show during the day is not really representative of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments for Commissioner Parkins? Okay, is there a motion for the sign application? Thank you, Commissioner Ticky. Is there a second? And Commissioner Kelly has seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Let the record show the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay or abstaining. Commissioner Perkins, what's the recommendation of the zoning subcommittee for the sixth crumble cookie?
And the cookie again in Fountain Square, we had no concern with this. To approve. It's just commission approval.
As well as on the monument sign?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they follow the sign plan with it being on the facade? The doorway.
Yes.
Good.
The only comment is, I know Crumble usually covers all of their windows, and so just something to be mindful of. I know it's a PDD, but with our regs, so that every other business in the plaza doesn't also cover all their windows.
They also indicated that at some point they may make the sign pink. But right now, it's the
back side of it?
Yeah.
Good.
Some of the other stores have pink. Some things in pink, so they said they may change it, they know they have to come back with mission if they do.
They do. I was just gonna say they will come back before us. So Mr. Zeddy, could you follow up, please, as to what they're gonna be doing with their window? Is this, what's being covered now, I'm sure is, the windows are covered now because of the interior. So, okay. Just FYI, Jersey Mike's open today.
Yes.
All right, so, we finished. Oh, we're on Crumble Cookie, so any further questions for Commissioner Parkins? Is there a motion for this particular sign application? Okay, Commissioner Cristiano has a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, that's Commissioner Tippy. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Let the record show the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay or abstaining. Commissioner Perkins, what's the recommendation of the zoning subcommittee for?
Ooh, that's the third 7. This is down at the Los Toblero, shopping center. Yeah, the window dressing was not part of the field salon that was there, so I'm not really sure if they're planning to leave the window decals.
Okay, so this is down in River Road.
What kind of business?
The barber shop.
Yeah.
So they're taking over a previously occupied space. Okay. All right. I think it's a nice thought.
Barber shop or hair which one it was. But it's hair.
Okay. All right. Okay, so, Commissioner Kelly has made a motion to approve. Is there a second? Commissioner McGee, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
There was just to say, there was a line in line as well. The same. Oh. Okay. The same line.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just so that you know we're approving 2 signs.
All right. So Commissioner Kelly and Commissioner McGee, you're both on board with that? All right, but, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show the vote was 6-0 with no commissioner voting nay or abstaining. Commissioner Perkins, what about number 8, lost and found, 127
Lost and Found is replacing Center Street Social. I guess the same use,
The
the
same sign,
same
Sign.
frame, just
Same
changing
frame,
the
right.
name of within the
words
frame.
have changed.
Okay, so this is a
And it's another
business.
business, the same type.
Okay. All right, any questions for Commissioner Parkins? Okay, is there a motion for this sign application? Thank you, Commissioner Tiki. Is there a second? Thank you. So all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, let the record, any opposed? Let the record show that the vote was 6-0 with no commissioners voting nay or abstaining. Okay, next one is the ninth application, Fairfield County Music Studio, 40 Huntington Street.
This is down in Huntington Center. Have no issue with the sign. I don't believe it's already there.
Okay, only thing I want to point out, I happened to drive by the back of the building. This is, it's a shame because all the other storefronts have signs with huge letters. And it's quite a contrast, it's quite small compared to the other ones. And I just don't know where that, how that came about. Yeah.
No business use.
Bit of like it's class. Okay,
There's no issue with the window.
No.
Just asking.
Commissioner Cristiano.
No. No, they're allowed so much coverage on the windows and stuff.
Ms. Castro, did you look into that?
It's 25% and they fit.
Okay, very good. But it's a good point to remember. All right, and any further comments or questions? Is there a motion on this particular application to approve? Commissioner Kelly, is there a second?
I'll make the motion.
Second, okay. So on a motion made by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Cristiano, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
We're out of unison there.
Let the record show.
The other ones.
Let the record show that the vote was 6-0 with no commissioner voting nay or abstaining. All right, Commissioner Perkins, what is the,
All right, another, Fountain
Recommendation.
Square,
this is Mercado, let me just get that on the record. So this is, what? Go
Is
ahead.
the original?
the applicant was present at the meeting, and, we didn't have any issue with the awning colors. We actually think it's quite complementary to their signage,
Mhm.
but we did ask that the, reference to what they have in their pizza, whatever, be removed from the awning, so no verbiage on the awnings. And we asked them to move the sign up, and they were, they said that would, they would do that. They didn't have a problem.
Yeah, the words on the wine is pizza, pasta, the Italian word for fish, wood, beef, wine,
I
so,
mean, the Italian restaurant.
Yeah,
that
kind of
was-
those.
They got inside.
okay. So this is the third go around with the name up on the facade.
And it looks great up there.
It does, I think it stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the facade background itself has
We're fine.
changed.
No, it is, but
It's a little woody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But it blends it.
yeah, I think it's nice way done.
it does. It's very nice.
Okay, so,
I'll make a motion to approve the signs.
I
All right,
just
so-
want to point, this is revision 2 for your verbiage. There were 2 revisions, revision 1 and revision 2.
Look how clearer it is moving up there.
yeah, that's more visible. Okay, thank you, Ms. Castro. All right, so there's a motion to approve from Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Cristiano has seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let show the vote was 6-0 with no commissioner voting nay or abstaining. Our last application for certificate of zoning compliance is Deborah Palmieri, 8 John Dominic Drive for an in-law addition. Mr. Rossetti, do you have information for us? And if the applicant is present,
We are.
why don't you come on up, grab a couple seats? first house as you go up down Dominic on the right?
Left.
On the left, okay, when you have to have across the street.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm familiar with this.
Yeah, I've been there since we got the house, so.
So Mr. Rizzo, do you have something for us? Okay. Weddington. There's, country place, is it? Yeah. early. Mhm.
That would actually.
So Deborah, maybe you could just mention the reason for me for.
My sister, she lives in Maine,
Hmm.
and she's older than I am, and she lives alone, and we want to bring her closer to you.
Praise Ranch?
Yes.
Okay. That's the house. Yes. All right.
Here's the existing plot plan. Everything that they're showing is clearly within the setbacks. They've attached their drawings to open up, as I mentioned earlier. They do meet the definition for a story, which typically we don't allow enclosed basement dwelling units. But because of the grading of the site, as you can see, out back, that's open to a walkout. So their grade at their basement level meets our definition for a livable story area. So they are allowed to have a livable area down there.
And that's the.
This is the upper level, and then here's the lower level with family room. Actually. Correct. Here's the lower. With the- So they plan on adding carport out, and on the side here, you saw earlier, those two garage bays, this would be on the side. This area would be remodeled with an addition for a bedroom.
Is it just a one-story addition or two-story?
It's not really an addition, it's remodel.
Oh.
Well, there'll be,
Except more of the.
on the lower level, there'll be over 16.
There's already a screen in porch above, but we're taking that down, it's just gonna be the.
Oh, okay.
Are you taking the screen porch down?
We don't have any concern.
Mhm. Any questions from any of the commissioners?
No.
I'll make a motion. Let me just, Mr. Panico, how about yourself? Are you good with this to go?
It appears to be in order. I haven't looked at it in detail, but it does appear to be in order.
Mhm. Okay. Very good. So if there's no further comments, questions, or concerns from the commission, is there a motion on this particular application? Helping to make that motion to approve. Okay. Good. So on a motion made by Commissioner Parkin, seconded by Commissioner Kelly to approve. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Let the record show, vote was 6-0 with no commissioner voting nay or abstaining. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you, thank you,
Welcome to your system.
thank you. You'll be happy.
Okay, next on the agenda is new business, and I'm going to start with item E, application 2405, Belita Lawn Masonry. Is there a motion to accept a review for staff to set a public hearing? Mr. Kitty, okay. Is there a second?
Commissioner Cristiano.
Thank you. So on the motion made by Commissioner Tiki, seconded by Commissioner Cristiano, to accept application 2405, Belita Lawn Masonry for review, as for staff to set a public hearing. Sure.
Mr. Panico had brought up a question about, the regulations providing for this application.
Mhm.
Tony, in application 2129 is when the regulations were amended to provide this permit to proceed as a special permit.
But this, what's cited here is incorrect then. This is citing use line 25,
45.
I'm sorry, 45 under the IA2 zone. And if you look at this, both the recodified regulations and the original ones, it's listed as X.
So let me show you. Give me 2 seconds. I'll pull it up.
Is the recodified regulations in error then?
No,
No?
no.
The
Is
Excel, the
application in
Excel
error?
spreadsheet, the Excel
Something's gotta
spreadsheet,
be wrong.
Okay, Ms. Castro is trying to explain something. Go ahead, Ms. Castro.
the Excel spreadsheet that's in the version does not have this, but it's a separate part, just coordinating with IT, so that was done in error, but this is correct. This is a separate Schedule A, which is also listed in the same link.
I'm confused.
That's,
The spreadsheet online on the city's website is incorrect.
The spreadsheet online on the city's website is correct, but in the main booklet, this did not transfer over.
Okay,
So I will show you quickly.
so the copy I have is not correct then.
That sounds it. So give me 2 seconds. So, yeah. If you're on the city webpage, you click on the revised Schedule A permitted uses. This is the most up-to-date version here.
Okay,
So the printed version is incorrect. The printed version that some of us have.
That's it.
okay, so, I was asking, Commissioner Dickey made the, motion, seconded by Commissioner Cristiano to accept this for review and for staff to set a public hearing. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show that the vote was 6-0 with no commissioner voting nay or abstaining. So the public hearing for application 2405 will be set by staff and will appear on the agenda of an upcoming meeting. So now we'll move back to item A under new business, Park Royal at 113 and 123 Canal Street, Assessors Map 130, lots 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And final site development plans on 2.57 acres in the Riverfront District. RD zone for a 5-story mixed-use building with 11,000 square feet of retail commercial space on the first floor and 92 studio, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments with on-site parking. Just note here that the application for 92 apartments was unanimously approved with specific conditions on June 14th, 2022. And those conditions include an approved state traffic commission certificate or a written confirmation that a certificate is not required as the 205 parking spaces being provided are above the STC's 200 parking space threshold. 9 affordable housing units in a mix in proportion to the overall unit mix and in compliance with the state affordable housing stipulations were to be set aside. Final engineering plans for underground utilities, correction of all engineering deficiencies listed in the city engineer's letters of February 28th, 2024, and March 5th, 2024. Approval by the city engineer of the final site layout design details include capping of the existing culvert, additional detail, specifications, and dimensioning of final engineered site plans. All curbing is to be poured in place and all curbing is poured in place and or extruded Portland cement concrete. potential for additional retaining wall detail and protective railings along the top of the retaining wall, the extension of the river walk along the site perimeter, consistent river walk and site lighting and submission of new fixture details, the planting of street trees as required by the city, the smooth transition of the proposed sidewalk with the existing public sidewalk and if necessary replacement of the public sidewalk. Mr. Rizzo, do you have any comments for us before I recognize the applicant?
So,
This resulted in a -2 count on our report on affordable housing.
Yes, it did.
Just making note.
Yes. It came before last year's
Right.
affordable housing plan that we approved, so. Okay, okay, so, is the applicant present?
Yes, Dominic Thomas, Cohen and Thomas, 350 Main Street, representing the applicant. I do want to mention up front that this,
The applicant uploaded some things just today, this morning or something?
Terrible.
I don't believe I uploaded things related to, I uploaded things related to Chromium Commons today.
Oh,
I did, the only thing I sent in today was I did a draft of the covenant for the plan records, which is just a draft that I've done in other affordable housing. I don't recall. Oh, no, there was one item, there was the final site plans did not have detail of the concrete curbing, so a revised detail sheet was sent to me and I uploaded the revised detail sheet.
Okay, but do you have some new material you wanted to present to us?
No, in this matter, first of all, what I want to point out is there's all reference to final site development plans and everything. That is of course, a plan development district term. That is not a special exception term. In fact, at the time of the approval, the main issue was a structural issue related to the engineering department as to whether or not the covering of Bering Ground Brook was going to require changes in the site plans. You will see that after a lengthy period of time, there was engineering studies done and a letter has been uploaded, not by me, but I believe by your own staff, approving the design, and the structural engineer approved the design. There was no basic change in the site plan. However, revised site plans were filed to show that on the first floor now, there are I believe two electric charging stations. And in addition to that, it was noted that the detail sheet in the set of plans did not have the concrete curbing. It referred to bituminous curbing. So we had the engineer correct that, and that was submitted. All the rest of the things, there's no change in anything else. In addition to that, I uploaded, again, why I had sent it numerous times, a draft that is probably about 18 months old of the parking license that you required for that would be applicable to both Riverview Park Royal and Chromium Commons, because it dedicates spaces on Riverview Park Royal, which is overparked for Chromium Commons. Other than that, everything else is pretty much the same as we presented at that time. And in reviewing it, again, this is a special exception, not a plan development district. There is reference to getting OSTA, but we've said it 100 times. OSTA is always a condition of any approval, and it takes a substantial amount of time to go through their process. There's an AD, what is known as an administrative decision process, that can take a substantial number of weeks or months once the final plans are in. So that is usually a post closing thing. A post closing item that is a requirement, because the client can't get a building permit without the OSTA sign off.
Right.
So obviously that's the regulation, and he knows it. So it is an automatic condition, whether you say it or or not. And the main issue was the engineering, and all of that's been signed off. The engineer has even in his final letter, I believe, proposed a municipal improvements bond and soil erosion sediment control bond. So everything is done for this. Again, the site plan's been approved. So what you're doing is approving whatever amendments were caused in the site plan as a result of the your request for the charging stations and for the any changes to the site plan, such as inserting the concrete curbing and everything else that was requested.
I think there was a question about the improvements to the Riverwalk. Are you making the improvements as part of his proposal, or are they deferred to somebody else?
Supposed to be the applicant.
Dominic, I can handle that one.
Okay.
For the record, John Geddes, there's a few things that I want to add. One is that as part of the agreement with the city, as you know, this was a city property. The final approval or the final agreement that was reached is that we will grade the Riverwalk, and that's what the plans show. The plans that have been were submitted. We will grade it and provide millings. The city will come in afterwards and do all improvements to it, such as pavers, lighting, whatever is necessary, railings. So that's all part of what the city, and I believe that the city has hired from what discussion I had last with the mayor, the city was about to hire or had hired the same architect that had done the extension of the Riverwalk, the extension beyond Avalon, the Avalon site. So that's something that the city's going to take, handle. As far as the items that were also requested, there was a request to provide some detail on the site lighting, and that was introduced into the landscape plan. So if you go into the landscape plan that had been submitted, you'll see that there's a detail for the site lighting. And as Attorney Thomas said, there are 2 locations that were added to the plan for electric charge stations. They were provided in a location with the provision that if in the future we find that there is a demand for it, provisions have been made so that 2 additional ones will be added. These you'll see on the plan that they're on the left side of the building underneath the overhang. So it was set up purposely so that the charge units would be on the wall and that it would be protected from the weather. But I went through the list that had been provided by Alex, and I believe we accommodated all of the requests that were made.
Okay, could you just clarify a couple of things? What about the handicap parking space details? Are those on the site plans now?
Yeah, those I believe they're on the site plan on the Edwards Associate plans. And
Okay.
I think I also introduced it into the landscape plan.
Okay, and one other thing, and then Commissioner Kelly has a question. Did you update your color elevations?
Well, basically, what I submitted for that one is basically the renderings of the front and the back, which present the color scheme. And that's the color scheme that we will follow.
Okay, I just want to point that out, that apparently that was, some of these items were items 3 through 7 on pages 4 and 5, and items 2 through 5 on page 6 of the resolution for the original application. Okay, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, it's for Mr. Guest. Is there a state statute that indicates the percentage of charging stations?
No, there isn't, that I'm aware of.
We.
But I believe that, I think we had this discussion before. I think there's been discussions at the state regarding it, but nothing has been implemented I'm aware of.
Right, there was a fire marshal that we had in the city hall here, yeah. And he indicated that it was a state statute, so maybe you should.
No, as I said, and we, as you know, we design a lot of buildings.
I
And,
know, I realize that.
Well, I'll ask
We were
Mr.
just
Rossetti.
surprised to hear about it.
yeah, as I said, I'm not
Share that
aware of it.
information with you, Mr. Betts, okay?
I'm sorry?
I'm going to ask Mr. Rossetti to share that information with you that
Okay.
we received at that workshop.
Just one other question, and this is entirely up to you. I know this project was approved before we had the affordable housing concept. I don't know if you're receptive to doing anything at this point.
The affordable housing, no, we've agreed to provide 9 units.
Okay,
I think what Commissioner Kelly is getting at is that our current affordable housing plan, we've called for 11. But Commissioner Perkins, you came up with that?
I just wanted to be netted out.
Mhm,
Right now, we're gonna be down 2 units.
mhm. You're using a straight 10%?
Yeah, well, if you add, if we're responsible for 10% for housing, you add 92 units, and you're only getting 9 units, then we're pool is -2.
Mhm. Okay. So, perhaps you could take that under consideration.
It's not required because
no, it's not.
condition that's already done.
That's what I said.
You can see it in the goodness of your heart to add a unit.
Any Commissioner- Is there any comment, questions, concerns?
They're all been asked.
Okay.
I just have a quick, just clarification, for either Attorney Thomas or Mr. Getz. So for the Riverwalk, you are just doing the grading and the milling, and the town will be responsible for basically finishing. the grading.
That is correct. That was and again, I know that there's been time lapse, but the original deal that had been structured with the city was that I had proposed to the mayor that in a proposed reduction to the purchase price of the Chromium site, that I would provide whatever is required to do the Riverwalk. And then in the final stages, that was rejected. Attorney Fran Teodosio was part of those discussions, but the final agreement was basically what had been agreed to when I responded to the RFP for the site. And that was that I proposed that we would do the grading because we have to grade it anyway as part of the building. And then the request was to mill it and that they would come in after, meaning the city would come in afterwards and do all of the finished items. As I said, such as the pavers and whatever wood, railings would be necessary or, basically the city is responsible to finish it.
Okay. Can I ask you just to clarify a couple of things? Your landscaping plan, have you double checked to make sure that you are using only native species? I would be asking that on Commissioner Amato's behalf, because I know she would if she was here.
Yes, I mean, we always do. And again, when it comes to the landscaping, when we, get to it, I'd be more than happy to, submit something to the commission as far as the species. And I mean, it's not, generally we buy local, from the, whether it's Planter's Choice or, and they generally tend to have, they provide the, the non-invasive species.
I would just double check that if you wouldn't mind, there's something called Buxus microphylla that may not fall into that category. So, and then the only other thing I have is, you, before the affordable housing, have you looked into a housing administrator?
I don't follow. Housing administrator?
Well, you have to have someone to, administer the affordable housing
Oh,
component.
we do that in-house. We
You're
have,
doing that internally.
yeah, we have, so that you know, we actually have we own buildings that are 100% affordable. We have a 37 unit building that's all age restrict, or elderly housing, but it's 100% affordable.
Right, so you're going on the
So we're
record.
familiar with the requirements.
You know, you have all the paperwork that would be
Yeah.
required. Okay. Anything else from any of the commissioners? Okay, well, seeing that, chief alternates, probably are not very familiar with this, other than what you might have been paid for, or I would suggest that we move on and discuss it at an upcoming meeting.
No.
You want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reviewed the
You
material.
did, okay, Commissioner McGee, how about you? Okay,
That's fine.
no problem with that. We do, because it's, you, myself, Commissioner Kelly, and Commissioner Ticky. Commissioner Cristiano is going on the record that he's become acquainted with that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so, what's the consensus of the commission on this particular application?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, no
Madam
comments,
Chair.
questions, or concerns?
Madam Chair, I had a question.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Panico. No? Okay, Mr. Panico, what
It's
comments did you want?
It's really pertaining to that legal document that Attorney Thomas has proposed to commit the 7 spaces that are required across the street. I think it just needs some additional minor language that guarantees the spaces will be provided in the event this project does not go forward. Because otherwise, we're going to be obstructed from approving the project across the street or giving its final approval.
Good point.
There's
So,
any development, no matter what the best interests of the developers sitting around the table are, there's always the possibility that the project doesn't materialize. So
are you suggesting that those particular parking spaces be specifically identified and lined in some manner, shape, or form to show that it is not a general parking space, but a reserved parking space?
I don't
There
think,
will be,
I'm not worried about that so much as I'm worried about the fact that we get 7 spaces someplace.
Okay, all right.
I think-
Attorney Thomas?
I think that again, you're right, I suppose, could be that the project isn't built. I do want to point out with respect to Chromium Commons, which was something I pointed out consistently through, you are literally in Chromium Commons, you are literally 10 walking paces from the giant parking lot next to Conti Building.
That's
And
what
keep in
everybody
mind,
says.
keep that apartment building, if you drive by it later in the evening in any way, remember the parking for residents, the peak time for parking for residents is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And that parking lot, and I'm even though that 10 a.m. is past my bedtime a lot, except when I'm attending zoning meetings, I have driven by it on a couple of weeknights coming back from zoning meetings, and it's empty. So, you could keep that in mind. However, the confidence is it's going to be recorded on the land records. I guess the fear is that if Mr. Geddes decides not to go forward, or,
Well, that ain't happening.
Well,
So, look, I
That's
just
the
want
relation,
to tell the commission one thing. The approval of capping of the channel as delayed is almost 8 months. We closed with Ion Bank on an $18 million loan over a year ago. Our biggest problem right now is getting started with the construction because construction loans generally are done with a 24-month period. Well, 1 year is over. The biggest problem I have is, getting an extension from Ion at the interest rate that they have provided a year ago. So the bill, right now our plan is OSTA, the OSTA requirement is being dealt with, and I believe that this week all of the paperwork is going up for administrative review. So we should be able to get that in the coming weeks. But our intention is that, and this is what we've been attempting to do, is that to first get a permit, which is a site permit, to be able to begin to do the capping of the channel. Because without that, we can't really work on the site.
Mhm.
While that's being done, the permit process will move forward, including OSTA. And we should be able, within the next 4 months, be underway with the building. Right now, we've awarded contracts for concrete, structural steel, the various major items that take time to put together and fabricate. The structural steel takes months to do. So we're geared up to move forward. There's there's too much invested at this stage. So the fears of this is not going through, it's not going to happen. It's moving forward. We're committed, and unfortunately, these sites, do have certain issues. There's still environmental work that the city is performing with Arcadia's, and this is not just for this site; it's also for Chromium. So we've been coordinating with the LEPs. So it's but as you know, for being involved on Canal Street now for 20 years, we've gone through this. We went through it with the Beard, the asphalt plant, and and 223 Canal. Every single one of these sites has had issues, so it's a little more challenging. But the commitment is there, and we're moving forward. And we're moving forward with both buildings at the same time. We have the funding in place from Thomaston Bank with Chromium. Ion has funded the Riverview Park Royal. So funding is not an issue. Plans are completed. The construction documents are completed, and we're basically ready to move forward.
Okay. Attorney Thomas, when would the license agreement be executed?
Well, I'm sorry, when will it be executed?
Yeah, because what is
Well,
online.
I want to make sure, Attorney Theodosia approves it. I believe he's reviewed it and it's okay, but once this is done, then I've gone to make sure also with Alex that we coordinate both approvals. And that's what we have to do. We have to coordinate both this approval and the Chromium approval. And once that's done, then I will sign it, because the Chromium approval is also related to this, obviously, to the parking license.
We appreciate Mr. Gett's commitment, for sure. So thank you for updating us on that, and that you're ready to go forward. But as you can also appreciate, we have to do our due diligence. So as Mr. Panico pointed out, that is a major point. We can't just, as Attorney Thomas should well know, just assign park spots in the city lot to a development. So that's why we want to make sure that we have that commitment.
Yeah, at the time that particular lot is leased by the city, but if that should end, those parking spaces may not necessarily be available anymore.
Plus, there's a lot of new businesses moving in downtown too, that those spaces might not always be available in that lot. They may now be, they may not be in the future. So I'm going to amend my motion to include contingent upon the agreement being signed off.
The parking license agreement. Okay, you were seconding the original and you're modifying yours. You second, okay? All right, any comments, questions, or concerns before we go to a vote from anybody? Mr. Panico, do you have any final?
I have nothing else to say at this time.
Okay, So there's a motion to approve final site development plans contingent upon the parking license agreement being signed. That was made by Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. I'll do a roll call vote on this. Commissioner Parkins? Aye. Commissioner Kelly? Commissioner Dickey? Commissioner Harder is an aye. Commissioner Cristiano?
Aye.
And Commissioner McGee abstaining. Okay? So let show the vote is 5-0-1. All right, moving on to application 2320, which is Cronin Commons, Dominic Thomas of Primrose Development LLC, 113 Canal Street, assessment map 129, lot 31, for final site development plans for a mixed-use development with 30 residential units and 6 retail units with on-site parking. This application was accepted for review on February 14th, 2024. On the city's website is the site plan, property survey, architectural, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, sprinkler, fire alarm, fire resistance, and handicap plans. The city engineer's review, parking license agreement, and elevations and renderings. Mr. Rossetti, were there any other reports, materials, or correspondence received within the time period for this application, but not yet posted to the city's website that we need to acknowledge? No, okay. All right, Attorney Thomas, I know you're present. Please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Attorney Dominic Thomas, Conan Thomas, 315 Main Street, Durham, Connecticut, representing the applicant. Once I was notified that this was going to be on the agenda, I did review the approval resolution from, this is a plan development district. And the approval resolution did call for final site development plans. So upon my review of that and consultation with Manny Silva, who was the engineer on the site, he reviewed and I reviewed the items that were in the approval. He updated the plans. They were uploaded yesterday. In addition to that, right after, to my knowledge, right after the PDD was approved. And for some reason, after it was approved, there was no communication with me with respect to the statement of uses and standards, which I don't think had any significant issues and everything like that. But right after that, Mr. Geddes filed the architectural plans and elevations, or he emailed them in that addressed the changes that were requested, I believe. I then, he resent them to me, and I uploaded them, I think at the end, either the end of last week, or I uploaded them earlier this week, along with the plans and of course the parking license, which is related, and noted on the website that the city engineer had filed a report and forwarded that report to Mr. Geddes. So I believe at this point, everything is pretty much uploaded with respect to the final site development plans as required.
So, are you going on the record that the 6 points in the city engineer's letter of March 5th and the numerous ones in his letter of February 24th are ones that 2022, over 2 years ago, will all be corrected to satisfaction of the commission and the city engineer?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, keeping in mind it says JD after my name, not PE or AIA. So I leave that up to either Mr. Geddes or Mr. Silva to confirm that.
Yeah, I'm sort of batching you in with the applicant as a whole, not you personally. Attorney Thomas.
Members of the commission, for again, for the record, I'm John Geddes. The one thing that you may have heard, overall, the only change that took place was when members of the commission and Mr. Panico had concerns about the facade facing Center Street. So the revised plans that Attorney Thomas is referring to basically were the improvements to that facade on Canal Street West. And at the end, and those are, I believe that they were submitted early, right after we went through the zoning hearing. But those were recently reloaded, which basically you show those facades, the renderings and the elevations were submitted. And again, the color scheme is shown on the renderings.
And I've asked Mr. Rossetti to project those on the screen. So I don't know if you want to make any comments as we scroll through. Well, are there any changes here that you want to point out, Mr. Getz?
Well, I would prefer to have, if Alex could put the renderings up.
Right.
The elevations. You come with that?
Because those were the original plans. And
It's 3 and 4 of what she was just showing us.
yeah, but I submitted them a few days ago, beginning of the
You're
week.
coming up, he's looking.
This is it.
There you go.
Yeah, so again, the color scheme, and these were the improvements, because this is the facade that faces the Conti building and Center Street. The corner is projected, faces the end of Center Street. And this was the facade that there was concern about, because again, the idea was not to make it look like the back of the building, but and this is what. So this is there's a little deviation from the original plans that were submitted, because again, it was I addressed the concerns that were raised.
Are those bollards there or parking meters?
Columns, I mean?
On the right side of the building, those are, no, the other way, those are, entrance doors.
Oh, okay.
Those are doors.
Mhm.
And then the front facades, pretty much stay the same.
That is the facade that's facing Pier 131?
That's correct.
Okay.
And again, I think that one of the requirements was that the storefronts be recessed 5 foot, and they are. So, basically the revisions that were made were to address the concerns that had been raised.
Okay. Mr. Panico, you have any concerns?
No, I'm satisfied with the architectural modifications. My only outstanding concern right now is that I just got a copy yesterday of the survey plan that was submitted, and I really would like to check that against the layout to be sure that that layout fits within the available survey information. I suspect it probably does, but it should be checked.
Okay, well, we can make that.
The survey was not superimposed graphically on the site plan, so it needs to be looked at.
Okay, we can make that
No problem.
contingent. Couldn't we make that contingent on a motion for approval?
Excuse me?
Couldn't we make that a contingency of an approval? That what you find is correct?
Yeah, I guess you could. Sure. I mean, I have no problem. The project has been an approved project. It's
Right.
all the major points have been addressed. If the commission is satisfied with the elevations, and I don't see why not.
Yeah, well, it's just that you bring that up about the property survey, so. It doesn't.
I have one question. How much of a sidewalk do we have on the back side of this building? I cannot pin it down.
It's
Or do those doorways open directly onto the parking lot?
no, there's actually, it doesn't depict now because there are no sidewalks now.
No,
But
I know.
there's going to be a standard street width sidewalk of 9 feet. There's, if you look at,
Okay.
there, I don't know what this is, but there's, as I said, there's, you can see the sidewalk.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Is it all around the building?
Yeah, Manny Silva from Rose Teasel Company, 35 Brentwood Avenue, Shelton. I mean, not Shelton, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Fairfield.
Um, so we do have a large, wide brick sidewalk here that kind of lines up with the off-site corridors that we have around the area. I think
Mr. Silver,
we actually,
any way you can make that cursor pointer a little bit bigger,
yeah, I'm gonna try. Hold on.
hard to pick out where it is, the screen or different color.
Here, what I'll do is,
Maps jumping all over the place.
yep, sorry about that, guys. So what we have, what I'll do is I will get this I'll get my pencil, this pencil out. No, no.
And you're looking at a good picture, and it's what raised my concern. Right where that slight angle point is,
Right here.
where is the edge of the parking lot? Is it at the property line, or is it at the back of the walk? Or there's two lines there. Which one is the property line?
You're talking about right here?
Yeah, no, a little to the right.
Right here?
Yeah, see where the slight kink in the parking is?
Yeah, so this is the curb line for
Okay,
our
that's the
parking
curb
lot.
line?
And then the
Okay.
lower line is the property line. So we have like about a foot or so. So what we're doing is actually because the sidewalk would be too narrow if we're actually bringing the sidewalk onto our property is what's happening.
All right.
To get it to full 6 foot width.
Okay.
Otherwise,
9 feet.
what's that? I'm sorry.
I think we just heard 9 feet.
No, it's 6 foot. 6 foot. Here we have a much wider sidewalk here that runs up to these crosswalks.
Well, let's stay with the parking lot.
Right. Yep. No problem. And then what the town engineer asked us to do, and I've already made the changes here, is to extend the existing sidewalk that's out there past this parking lot and then create a accessible ramp here at this corner and another one here at this corner.
A handicap ramp.
Correct.
That area along the easterly property line, are the cars going to encroach in the right of way of the street?
I mean, we have the full 18 feet, so we could put wheel stops so they don't do that.
No.
But yeah, I mean, if they park right up to the curb with their wheels, then yeah, there's a 2 foot, there's a between 18 inches and a 2 foot overhang.
You only have 9 foot wide parking stalls.
Yep.
So,
I could pull them back. I could pull out like this one another foot back because I have 25 feet as the maneuvering space.
mm-hmm.
And you really only need about 24, only need 24.
That's the only area where that situation exists, I think.
Right. And what it is that because of the way I think the streets were created based on the face of the old buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So the right of way line in the survey, even you can see that the surveyor, because he's creating it from the deeds, it's basically a 50-foot setback from the face of a building to a face of a building, and that's how Canal Street was created. So it's kind of hard to kind of
So okay, let's go back.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So
can you slide to the left a little bit to where the building is?
Yep. That's here.
Okay. So the building sits on the property line, correct?
Correct. It sits on the old, it's rebuilt on top of the old foundation wall, which is right at the property line.
And you will have a walk there along the edge of the street.
Correct. And then Mr. Geddes also explained that there will be the first floor is recessed in. Mm-hmm. So there's actually additional width to the sidewalk because the building will overhang. Yeah.
So that line is the upper floors?
Yes. Yep. Yep. So the first floor is actually recessed in here a little bit. So this sidewalk is actually wider than it's being shown here.
Okay.
But Tony, we could add.
Of course, there's no dimension there, but that's all right.
We could add concrete wheel stops to every parking space if you're concerned.
I think the only only part, the only place that occurs is here where there was no sidewalk, and we're extending it because the city stopped here with the concrete sidewalk that they just didn't created. So I think it's only these that would be a concern. This sidewalk is 6 feet. It's more than wide enough. And we have about 2 feet off of the property line anyway here. So I think that's just this area here, but I can bring this back a foot, pull it off the right of way line or the property line, because I can get this dimension down to 24 feet.
That parking area only for the tenants, the apartments?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Is it
There,
that-
this is I mean, I let Mr. Geddes respond to that, but I believe that's the case. And then
That's what I
the
thought.
retail space is parked off-site.
City, yeah, well, it's just city. Is it fenced in? The parking area? Is it gated? How is that controlled?
Well, the intent was not to fence it in. I mean, it's, the question always comes up, what kind of, if we were to do any kind of, fencing, it would have to be a decorative wrought iron or, because, as Canal Street continues to be developed, you want to make sure that the aesthetics of it is always maintained.
It's my understanding that they will be reserved for the tenants. That was the understanding, and they would have a sign there that says these parking are reserved. There usually would be some sort of a sticker or something for the tenants, and cars subject to being towed, and
So it's
that's
not
the way you
gated?
enforce.
Not gated?
Not gated. There wasn't a discussion when we went through this that it was going to be gated or secured in
I
any
believe there
fashion.
was a discussion. I just don't know what the end result of the
Yeah.
response. It was discussed. Because you're gonna just
Oh,
spend a
you're
lot of
talking
money.
about a gate. You're talking about, okay, I'm sorry, you're not talking about a gate around or a fence around the place. You mean at the entrance to the parking lot?
It's like a fob for people the residents to allow them to get in.
Yeah, I think what Ms. Parkins is referring to is similar to what Melisi did on the corner of Howland Center.
Yeah, Bible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really haven't given a lot of thought to that, but if it winds up being, as this thing progresses, if it winds up being an issue, then we may have to do that. I think that because of the fact that both buildings will be constructed at the same time, that what I'm, hoping, because I believe that, the provisions I made for parking at Riverview Park Royal, it was always with intent to be able to cover some of the parking requirements from this development. Yeah, yes, we're, right across the street from the county lot, but I believe that we will also be able to provide some overflow parking other than the ones that we're licensing at the Riverview Park Royal.
The Park Royal is gated for the.
Yeah, that we have combinations of, but obviously there has to be a number of parking spaces for the retail that will not be gated.
Right.
The gated would be associated with the lower garage that will accommodate the assigned parking for the residents.
But since all of this parking at Chromium is going to be for the residents, you may want to consider, otherwise you're going to be spending a lot of money in towing.
No, I mean, we're not going to look. These investments are long term. So yes, there's a learning curve, but we'll handle things as the issues come up, and this will be an issue we'll have to deal with.
Yeah, you just don't want the residents that are supposed to be guaranteed a spot in there parking in the municipal lot.
No, and that's understood, and I agree. Okay. So we'll look into that. I mean, it's, again, we're building it to own, so we're going to be burdened with tenants, requirements, and we'll have to deal with it.
Just a suggestion you may want to strongly consider.
No, it's a good suggestion.
Okay, any other,
Around parking, on parking question.
okay, Commissioner McGee has a question?
I'm not sure who exactly can answer this, but, I remember in the resolution to approve this project, there was talk about a new lot the city would be leasing, Yankee Gas. Is that still happening? And do we have updates on that?
Yeah, that's nothing to do with this.
But that was in the resolution to approve the original lifeline.
There might have been reference to, a license to have to rent the lease from the city parking.
Yeah, I discussed that with the mayor, and he indicated he would take care of it.
They are still working on.
Yeah, that hasn't come to fruition yet.
They're still cleaning it.
I think that's a major concern, considering this is basically what that is now, what the idea for that Yankee Gas lot would be. And we're starting to go forward with this project, but we don't have.
But the extra spaces that he needed are being accommodated in part of what.
Right, I understand that, but that's only how many spaces? 7?
Yes.
What he needs.
What about you?
Right, but I'm just thinking logistically here in terms of like when we have events, when we have the farmer's market, if we talked about numerous times tonight, moving cars from, oh, we have more parking in the county lot. Well, since we're moving these cars now that are currently there to the county lot, I think that's a major concern.
It's a moot point though, because he's providing the parking he needs for the.
On his own property.
his own
I
property.
understand that, but considering that we were under the impression at one point that we were going to somehow replace these town lots these leased lots.
Again, it has nothing to do with this application because he provided, it's a valid question, but it's not pertinent to this application.
I think it's very disappointing is my point.
He's
It's
met
something
the
we have to
requirements.
holistically look at.
I have a resolution, I scanned through, there's nothing here that talks about Yankee Gas. It is, subparagraph, item number 2 under the findings, but there is nothing in here that refers to any extra parking that would be provided on the Yankee Gas lot.
Number 5, page 5, it is
Yes,
taking into consideration existing and proposed off-street parking facilities that may be available in the near future, such as the city's proposed 70-car municipal parking lot.
What's the location of it again?
Is that,
What's it at the top, very first page?
planning and zoning 2128, PBD 113, Canal Street West?
Must be an older one now. It's with my material.
I'm just asking because it was in the resolution. We have to have a holistic idea.
But it was a such as, it was an example being used, it wasn't.
I understand,
It was required of that.
I understand that. I just think the city should do that if we're getting rid of public parking and we're saying, oh, we're gonna bring in all these cars now.
I mean, it's not getting rid of public, oh, you mean the public parking, the parking that the
Right
public
now.
is currently
Right,
allowed to use
exactly,
on Cronin property.
Yeah,
Okay, I understand that.
I think the relevant points to be brought up. I don't know if it's.
Mm. All right, any other comments, questions, or concerns? Yanko, do you have anything?
Just one minor one. Can we go back to that map we were just looking at? The, at the southerly end of the parking lot where that semicircle is, where the curbing is, I assume you're gonna treat the surface of the ground that lies between the curb and your parking lot. I don't have a landscape plan to look at because we don't have a landscape.
Oh, actually, there is a landscape
Okay.
plan.
All right, there we go. All right,
So
as long as
there's
it's addressed, I
landscape.
don't want it to be forgotten.
Yeah, there's landscaping that is gonna,
Okay.
I mean, it's limited, but there is landscaping that's being provided.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2 shade trees here and then some low growth stuff
Okay.
or near the corners, so it doesn't obstruct the sight line.
Mhm.
Okay, Mr. Yanko, is that all? Are you all set?
I have no further questions.
All right. So how does the commission want to proceed with this application?
Should make a motion to approve with the, contingent on, Mr. Canico reviewing the survey.
Mhm. So Commissioner Perkins has made a motion to approve with the contingency that Mr. Panico review the property survey. And that's seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Okay, on the motion, and seeing that this was accepted for review February 14th, and all commissioners were available at that time, everyone is eligible to vote. Now we will roll call. Commissioner Perkins? Commissioner Kelly? Commissioner Tippy? Commissioner Cristiano?
Aye.
Commissioner McGee?
I'll abstain.
Okay, and the chair votes aye, motion is passed by a vote of 5-0-1.
Thank you.
All
Have a
right,
good
moving
evening.
along, you're very welcome. We are on to new business, B. Victor Bosa at 111 Center Street, subdivision map 117B, lot 38, in a CA2 zone for a site plan application to allow a membership club under Schedule A, use line 16. Come on
Hi.
up, sir.
Do we, here,
Yeah, this is Gizmo. So, thanks.
Understood. Okay, good evening. My name is Joe Porto. I practice law with Brett Porto, 3C in Caldwell. Our office is located in Hamden.
Mhm.
Representing Mr. Chosa, this was an application that came before the commission last month. As I recall, I had the benefit of watching it on
Mhm.
YouTube. I think there were some questions asked by the commission, and we are here to provide answers as best we can. From a housekeeping perspective, this is in a CA2 zone. The application is to create a members club in this space that was previously a sushi restaurant, 111 Center Street. Approximately 988 square feet. The common denominator, Madam Chairperson, you asked that question specifically. It is essentially one of ethnicity. We, Albanians, people from with Albanian descent, primarily from Albania and Kosovo. In terms of how this will operate, many
Can I
with
just interrupt
Yes, please.
Attorney Porto. The applicant did supply statement of uses and standards. It is on the city's website. There are 12 points here. And a lot of what I assume the attorney is going to be relaying to us is confirmation of that. And I just, for the record, I didn't want to note on the city's website is the application, the site plan, the statement of uses and standards, first floor layout, and we did discuss and table it at our February 14th meeting. Mr. Rossetti, there is no further paperwork that we need to acknowledge. Okay, so back to you, Attorney Porter.
You took my thunder, so I can only elucidate on the points that were previously provided. To the extent that the commission has any questions, maybe in the effort to move the process along, we'll be happy to respond. Otherwise, I can go over what you already have, which I think you all have read.
Is there anything that any of the commissioners feel still needs to be explained?
Is there any parking on this site? Is there any parking specific to this? So it's all street parking?
My understanding is it's all street parking. I did see that there appears to be a driveway that goes past the building, but I don't know if that leads. Do you know if that leads to
Yes.
parking?
You have 4 space parking in the back of this.
Okay.
Is it shared parking with the tenants up above, or is it all only for the tenants? I do remember that when the sushi was permitted.
Okay. So just quickly to go over that statement of use, as Attorney Porto said, the common denominator is made up of people from Albania and Kosovo. You have to be 21 years of age and older. There's a monthly fee anywhere between $50 and $100, which is fee set. There's going to be Albanian coffee and juices available. Members can bring their own beer or wine, so you're not required to get a liquor license. Okay, hours of operation 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Saturday. No food service, but food can be brought or delivered in. It's going to be recreational games like chess, dominoes, and cards. Fire marshal will set the occupancy. TVs will be available to broadcast sports games like soccer. No live music, and it's a for-profit enterprise. No charter or nonprofit designated.
So it's 7 days a week.
Yeah.
How could there not be a charter? How do the members know what's expected of them? How do they know they can't bring in hard liquor? How, without a charter, how do your members know what's expected of them?
Some kind of membership, bylaws.
Well, there could be, I think my point was that, I believe you inquired as to whether or not this would be a 501c4.
Or some sort of social club where. I mean, it's not a business, right? So it's not being registered as a business. How is it being registered with the state? It's not. Is it registered as a business? I don't understand that, which is why I'm asking.
Understood. So I'm gonna try to respond. So my research indicates, and I don't know if Corporation Council has weighed in on this. Okay, my understanding is that a social club and a membership club can be a nonprofit designation, but I do not believe that a membership-only club must be a nonprofit enterprise. So what I wanted, so it would be taxed, it wouldn't be treated, income derived from it would be taxable like ordinary income would be. So it won't be treated from the state's perspective as a nonprofit or not-for-profit enterprise. So in terms of rules, yes, that if the commission wishes to impose this condition of approval, that would be a set of rules provided to members. Happy to comply with that.
So if the income is going to be done, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No.
If the income is to be taxable, it has to be registered as a business with the state. Otherwise, how would they know what income is coming in?
Well, it could be and certainly should be registered, I would imagine, but I don't believe that is an issue for this commission. How, how the state treats from a tax perspective, an individual or an entity is, I think, outside of the four corners of whether or not it complies with the regs for a special, for a site plan.
So I'll defer to Alex in terms of a business use, occupancy use. Does that come, what comes first, the cart or the horse? Can we approve a use and not have a business?
Yeah, when he's going to open it.
Once you guys approve, he would be allowed to apply for a business occupancy.
Okay, not allowed, he must apply for it before they can use it for that use, correct?
Before he moves in, yes, but he requires your approval first.
Okay, that's what it does. So he knows that he has to apply for a business use permit.
He does now.
Okay. And what would he apply under? His social security number? If he's not a 501c4, if he doesn't have a tax ID number, what would he apply under? His as a self proprietor? I'm asking, I'm learning from this. I don't know how the Checo Club next door.
From our perspective, he's applying for a business occupancy certificate of zoning compliance, and however he deals with that with the state, that's beyond us.
So he's not applying for a membership club, he's applying for a business?
There's the fine line. Yeah, there's a little tricky.
Either way, both would be required, both would require, he's applying for a membership club occupying a space. We need to have a record of that. So that would go under from us, it would go under as a business occupancy. The same way we do building permits for other projects, they still have to come back and apply and have approval.
As a business, I assume you have insurance because if somebody gets hurt in your establishment, you're going to be responsible.
Absolutely. Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay, any questions? No. If you're very well presented. Any other commissioners have any questions? Mr. Pianico, how would you, how do you want to weigh in on this? Anything?
No, I have nothing else to add. And we've had situations before on Center Street and elsewhere where there have been membership clubs and they have dispensed alcoholic beverages and non-alcoholic beverages.
One thing that occurred to me, do you plan to have your members have access to the room only through a key code to get in?
No.
Okay, so your doors are not gonna be locked.
No bouncer at the door. Well, because you got 21 and over, right? It's not saying you're not allowing anyone.
Yeah, you want to-
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But, yes.
All right,
Are you planning on, getting a flag out or anything with the sidewalk or any sign covered over the windows?
Inside, yes, outside though.
No.
I was thinking which side of it, walking on the sidewalk, maybe
Yeah.
it was so low that it would.
Special item.
If I put that big up flag, it's gonna go with the American flag. We have to do both.
Okay, you do realize any sign that you want to put out.
The sign, yes, the name, yeah, I gotta put a small
you
sign.
gotta come,
Gotta come
We
back.
have to come back.
so you come up with a design, show it to us, take it from there. So Commissioner Kelly, Commissioner Parkins, and one other commissioner is not here tonight, but your sign subcommittee, they look at them all. And take any suggestions to make sure that they are
Good
appropriate.
idea. I got it reviewed first before you purchase it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, if there aren't any other comments, questions, or concerns, is there anyone that wants to make a motion on this particular application?
Oh,
Okay, so you're making a motion for approval? Okay, so there's motion for approval from Commissioner Cristiano, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Perkins? Aye. Commissioner Kelly? Commissioner Tiki?
Aye.
Commissioner Cristiano?
Aye.
Commissioner McGee?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you,
Thank you all. Thank you.
Keep it safe.
thank you, of course.
We'll see you when your sign is ready. Okay?
Yeah, I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right, next new business item is application 2404 Regency Centers. At 898 Bridgeport Avenue, Assessors Map 9, Lot 14, for minor modification to PDD for a facade update. Is there a motion to accept for review? Okay, that's Commissioner Tiki. Okay, and is there a second? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show that the vote was 6-0 with no commissioner voting nay or abstaining. Posted on the city's website is the application, the construction drawings, and an existing facade photo. This is Shelton Square Shopping Center. Mr. Rossetti, do you have any additional information to share with us before I recognize the applicant? Applicant present?
Alex, do you know, is it Shannon?
Should be Nicole.
Oh,
I don't see them on.
If there is an applicant from Regency Centers for application 2404, and you're participating remotely, please use Zoom, raise your hand so we can identify you. Yeah, it's here. The storefronts, and the storefronts where of concern are where currently common able are located, and next door we're connected with. And those two storefronts used to be Dress Barn and Dress Barn Women. And this is where 501 is. Those are gonna be taking occupancy. No?
if I may, I'm happy to speak to it, it's not.
Right, go ahead. Yeah, you know, the concern that
Yeah,
the concern that I had, too, that I expressed to staff was the application seemed to be pretty underwhelming, right, for the answers. There's no owner of record, no address of the property. So. No description of the site plan modification. It's the sign.
What happened?
We can hear you, Mr. Panico.
Somehow or other, I lost you.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna close down and call back, okay?
We see you and we hear you, so.
Ah.
Maybe you closed the wrong window.
Okay, most of you guys are familiar with this shopping center, Stop and Shop, the south, to this edge to the north. The application is proposing to merge this storefront here for you in Common Able and Medicare, as shown in this picture, and making one larger signing area, which I will.
What's the area above Seven Shop Park?
All the addressing is done.
And. Yeah, it's getting. It's getting this.
Yeah.
So here's the drawing. And current, let me show you proposed. So here is proposed. So currently Common Able is on the left side of this bump out. And here on the right side, it would merge the two and add this architectural feature in the center, make it a little bit bigger. And then their sign would go in the middle of this.
What happens if they move out? Then it's gotta be rented as one large, they can't go back into.
I mean, good, it's the one thing gonna have to pay to take it all down. Split back up.
It's like,
But this is the tenant that's applying for this. Do we have a approval from the,
No, it's Regency Centers is the applicant, and that's the owner of the Stone Square.
so the owner of the square is the one that's applying.
The Common Able and Connecticut currently, that's two different stores. Yeah, they're just gonna merge it into one, so there's a wall currently separating. They're gonna take down the wall.
Where's their signage going?
This,
So they were gonna share that white spot?
no, they're gone.
They're going, oh, okay, so a new tenant is coming into there,
Yeah,
Taking
five
the-
but
below,
we don't know what that.
five below.
They're moving out of
You said-
the, Molly Lane.
that's,
Right.
that's not a billboard, Jack.
Their sign is big.
What I'm saying, what they're planning on construction.
So essentially, it's gonna kind of look probably something like the edge.
Okay, but is it gonna blend in with the rest of?
The signage doesn't really, because we had an application for the sign, but we tabled it because they presented this facade and they didn't make an application to change the facade, so. I don't know if we have.
That's a street view of Stop and Shop.
It's a separate building.
Yeah,
That's a whole different thing. I don't know, it's a.
So the architectural, new architectural bump out or bump out
elevation.
is similar to what they did at the edge.
Yeah, this is more horizontal, where the edge is more vertical.
Well, they also did it for Home Goods, they changed it.
Yeah, they did.
Drastic.
and Hall shoot.
Home Goods is in that. So.
Yeah, so Molly Lane is down here, Home Goods is next to it. Further down there.
It's just,
But the only thing is that Home Goods and then Holly Lane, that's kind of built into the facade.
right,
This is adding this over the facade.
I don't mind it because, when you look at it, it's just one long kind of snake and you can't even really see the logo. So I think that some of these maybe smaller retailers come in, you get something as big as a Five Below, you get these other larger stores in, they want something more pronounced. I think it adds a little architecture to just kind of a straight, long building. I actually don't mind it at all, and that it's a bigger retailer that will come in, especially if they're in Holly Lane, I think we'll do well there.
but the signage is not gonna be, remember this is the PDB and it's not gonna conform with the other signage.
Yeah, I think what bothers me is that dark frame around the light.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't blend in.
Oh, I see. I think it's painted too, isn't it?
Oh,
Or is it brick?
Looks like brick. But I'm not quite sure what it is. I don't think there's anything.
Is it dark around the edge?
Yeah.
It's not very consistent with the other.
Now we try to make the best of both worlds with, having to merge two storefronts. You can see right below in the middle. You can see it. No, that-
But if they're gonna change, add the facade, it should be consistent with the other larger
Correct,
facade.
I agree.
Mhm.
Quickly scrolling through, I don't see the material called out. You can make that a condition.
What is the finish along the top of that projection?
It looks like some type of white cornice.
Yeah.
It's not colored in any way, shape, or form. And I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so the gray hatch that they put over this, with that spec, I think it's just to really call it out. But it looks like they're trying to match these colors. Whether or not that was well executed is the difference.
And should we anticipate that that's a sign panel? 32 feet long?
Yeah, it is. It is. This is a sign.
The large sign.
That's where they sign the plan as well.
Yeah.
So how did the commission feel about this?
Well, as Commissioner Pickey said, it is an improvement if we got it up, but I still think we should find out what's legal.
I think it needs to be consistent with the other.
Right.
With the edge and all
facade
that,
stuff, yeah.
yeah. It's surprising that they haven't indicated the materials.
If you want
But
to
they're-
make the, if you're okay with everything else, that can be a pretty easy condition. They don't have to. Otherwise, it's bad.
Yeah. I wish they could do something about that.
Let's not jump around so much.
Sorry.
I have what was submitted for the sign application. If you want to see that for reference, no one's reviewed it yet, but I have what they submitted.
We have a sign application for this.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's.
It just can't be reviewed yet until the facade is reviewed.
We
Right.
tabled this since they're not on,
Yeah.
and we have.
I think it's important to find out
Actually-
what the top of that projection looks like.
Would you like me to share that part?
Yeah, just show the sign, because I think the facade is being designed to accommodate the sign. I think that's
You've seen the
exactly,
sign.
I've seen the sign, and I think that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
But scroll, zoom in.
Oh, boy. So it's not masonry up above.
Sounds like Mr. Panico is getting the warm and fuzzies.
This looks different from the architectural stuff.
It does.
It's the same, it's just the colors don't represent well.
Yeah, I mean, it's beige and tan on the,
Looks like it's just erecting a sign across the two stores.
That's correct. It looks like a billboard.
It's not integrated into the building very well.
no. We can go back to, review.
Commissioner Martin said it, so I'd say have it like the other ones.
Yeah, it doesn't,
If you step back and look at it, it appears that the left and the right end sort of ends over an existing column down below. Maybe somehow or other that treatment needs to be carried so that there's a vertical feeling to it. I don't know. That looks far different from the other two at the northerly end.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
doubt,
you can't
definitely.
consider the Stop and Shop, it's the whole lane.
Yeah, it's
And
got
the,
to be
home goods.
consistent with the architecture of the other two facades that are raised up like that.
I agree.
They should have sent somebody.
All right, so, is there a motion
My motion.
to table?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, so there's a motion to table from Commissioner Dickey and Stan, seconded by Commissioner Kelly.
Was there any discussion of the rear yard area?
No,
On the back of the side.
the back of the building.
Oh,
They wanna make some adjustments. There's a loading area and location of loading dock. And some parking.
Is that coming in separately?
I think these are very. I don't really think they warrant a review at all.
But it is a big.
Yeah, here's the.
Right. Well, can we finish this first? So there's a motion to table from Commissioner Tiddy, second by Commissioner Kelly. Staff understand the concerns that the commission has voiced. So on a voice vote, all in favor of tabling, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show that the vote was 6-0 to table with no commissioner voting nay or abstaining. Okay.
Was the action you just took?
At the table, tabling.
Oh, to table it, okay. I thought it was to approve.
Okay. All right, we're moving on to old business, and the first is application 2315, Dominic Thomas for 740 River Road. Assessors map 21 lot 50 to establish a PDD and approve initial development plans for 51 side-by-side residential condos and on-site parking. Mr. Rosetti, do you have an update for us?
Yes, that.
Okay, so is there a letter of withdrawal has been filed? Is there a motion to accept the letter of withdrawal? This is 740 River Road? Yeah, the condo complex.
Okay. PDD. Okay, yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the withdrawal.
Okay, is there a second? Please, Commissioner McGee. So, all in favor of accepting the letter of withdrawal, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show that the vote was 5-0 with, no commissioner voting nay or abstaining, but Commissioner Kelly was not present for the vote. Okay. All right, next old business line is application 2316, Dominic Thomas for Bishop Development of Shelton LLC at 762 and a portion of 740 River Road, Assessors map 21 lots 35 and 50 for major modification of PDD, modification of initial development concept plans, and amendment to the statement of uses and standards for a 3-story medical building with on-site parking. Let's see here. Mr. Rosetti, what do you have for us? Yeah, I see what you have for us.
At the last meeting, the commission asked us to prepare a favorable report. The applicant attorney Dominic Thomas for Bishop Development LLC at 740 River Road wants to expand PDD 72 by 2.14 acres, now totaling 6.0 acres for the PDD, to allow the development of a 30,000 square foot medical office building with on-site parking. PDD 72 was originally adopted in 2011 to accommodate medical and dental offices and professional services, food establishments, and other limited commercial uses as defined in the statement of uses and standards. The proposed application does not alter the approved uses in the SWS. The 2-acre parcel is zoned industrial, IA2, and has been underutilized and misused for shipping container storage, dumping of construction debris, process, and storage of other materials over the past 10 years. The rehabilitation of this site would permit development that is in line with the existing property immediately to the south, which contains an attractive retail building in front and a medical office facility in the rear of the property. Application 2316 was accepted on September 13th, 2023. After a duly noticed public hearing on the September 27th, the application was continued to October 28th. On January 17th, 2024, the commission closed the hearing, and on February 14th, directed staff to prepare a favorable report.
The site plan is entitled Initial Development Concept Plan, Phase 3, prepared by James Swift, PE and landscape architect, dated August 22nd, 2023. The architectural plans entitled Medical Office Building for 740 River Road were prepared by Lindalillo and Associates and dated October 19th, 2023. The proposed development consists of a 3-story, 8,000 square foot building with attractive features, some similar to the medical office building in the rear of 762 River Road. During the public hearing phase, there was a discussion about traffic impacts on Route 110, parking, on-site drainage, fire safety, and site layout. The ongoing commission and staff review and discussion of the proposal, the commission offers the following comments and findings. The stormwater management drains into a detention pond, which discharges into a brook that empties into the Housatonic River, which was approved by the Inland Wetlands Commission application 2203. The commission notes that many detention ponds are unmaintained, quickly lose their functionality of prime or invasive species, and become unattractive. The applicant is required to determine other means for passive stormwater management and relocate the pond to less visible areas from the road. 2, the commission requires that any outstanding comments from the city engineer, fire marshal, sewer administrator, and the wetlands office are addressed before the final detailed development plans are approved. Further pedestrian, architectural, landscaping, refuse, and site details will be required to be shown in the final detailed development plan. PDD 72 accommodates the development with the existing statement of uses and standards and approval of the initial development concept plan, which still provides the commission with the necessary controls to ensure proper development in the final site plan, consistent with the surrounding uses. The proposed change is consistent with the POCD in the city and its goals of maximizing the economic development of industrial zone land. Resolution. Whereas the applicant has submitted a major modification to the initial concept development plans for PDD 72 under Shelton zoning regulations section 34 with the approval of a medical office building. And whereas the applicant has submitted a proposed statement of uses and standards applicable to the PDD proposal to accommodate said proposed development. And whereas the commission is familiar with section 34 of the Shelton regulations, has discussed and reviewed in detail the site intended to accommodate the development and related documents thereto, and subject to the comments and findings set forth above, the commission notes the following. The applicant complies with the requirements for consideration of the major modification of the PDD and the initial concept plan. After completing the 4 public hearing sessions and reviewing all materials, reports, testimony and details about the site and surrounding area, the commission has identified several findings and concerns that set forth above. Upon completing its review and studying the proposal, the commission is satisfied that its concerns can be addressed in the final detailed development plan. Therefore, based on the above and all available information in accordance with the provisions of section 34 of the Shelton zoning regulations, the commission has determined that the subject site is suitable for this development based on its findings and concerns set forth above, and hereby move to approve the subject application number 23-6.
Is there a motion for discussion? Commissioner Dickey is made motion for discussion. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Perkins. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Panico?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
We'll do our final review with the detailed development plans. And they've addressed all the concerns that the commission raised during the public hearings.
Okay. And if there isn't anything else, does anyone want to make a motion to? I'll make a motion to approve. Okay, there's a motion to approve resolution for application 2316 from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Dickey, so.
I hate to interrupt, but you need to set an effective date.
Yeah, we have that on their effective date.
Oh, okay, okay.
On Friday, March 29th, 2024. Okay, so on that motion made by Commissioner Parkins, second by Commissioner Dickey to approve, I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Dickey?
Aye.
Commissioner Cristiano?
Aye.
Commissioner McGee?
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins? Aye. Commissioner Kelly? And chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. Um, and just for the record, we did have, commissioners present for, public hearing, and they're eligible to vote tonight. All right, so we're moving on to the public portion. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address the commission on any item that's not on the agenda, please, sign up on the sign-up sheet. Yeah. If there's anyone participating via Zoom and you would like to address the commission on any item not on the agenda, please use Zoom's raise your hand feature. Anyone who happens to be by phone, star 9, please.
This is Attorney Dominic Thomas. I don't know if you would let me, but on item number 9B, I didn't know, since it's not a hearing, I was hoping to be able to comment to the commission since I have I provided some information related to
Commissioner,
9B.
Attorney Thomas, that item about modifying Schedule B, line 2, we have to set a public hearing on that, so you'll have the opportunity to weigh in on that.
Okay, if that's all you're gonna do, fine. I had provided information on that, but all right.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have a little explanation from Mr. Rossetti, but there's not gonna be any action taken tonight other than to set a public hearing. Okay, anybody else from the Mr. Harbinson? Okay, Mr. Harbinson, you have the floor. Please identify yourself for the record.
Sure. Tom Harbinson, 15 Soundcrest Drive. I just want to call the commission's attention, since it was referenced by one of the commissioners earlier, to Connecticut General Statute, Section 4B-77. I will read from subsection C. On and after January 1st, 2023, a municipality shall require each new construction of a commercial building or a multi-unit residential building with 30 or more designated parking spaces for cars or light-duty trucks to include electric vehicle charging infrastructure that is capable of supporting level 2 electric vehicle charging stations or direct current fast charging stations in at least 10% of such parking spaces. A municipality may, through its legislative body, require any such commercial building or multi-tenant residential building to include such electric charging infrastructure in more than 10% of such parking spaces. There were several applications tonight where I reviewed their parking plans, which did not indicate any electric charging stations, and they were all in excess of the 30 units that are spelled out in the Connecticut General Statutes.
Mr. Harbinson, would you just remind me for the record, what was the effective date of that? Was
The effective date was on and after January 1st, 2023.
Okay. And there's, Mr. Rossetti, there's nothing that you know about grandfathering in? Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
The statute is section 4B-77, parentheses C.
Got it. Okay.
One reference was made that all this would reach out with that information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
That was all. Thank you very much.
Very much, Mr. Robinson. Final call on anybody from the public that wishes to address the commission on any topic not on the agenda. Okay, nobody else? No. Okay, so we'll move on to other business. Commission discussion to remove or modify Schedule B, line 2 of the zoning regulations of the city of Shelton. Mr. Rossetti, why is this change being proposed?
So before, we as the staff sort of prepare a bunch of regulation changes, we wanted to bring something to your attention and just kind of get some general feedback before we start spending a bunch of time and effort on something that you guys aren't interested in. So really quick, I'll show you a map of the city and we'll zoom out a little bit first. Okay. So the downtown area is And everywhere that's kind of that dark orange color is circling in hot pink. These are the zones that are higher density residential development. Like we're talking R4, R5, a few R3 spots. But I'm sure many of you have been around these areas. It's predominantly smaller lots, 2 families, 3 families, sometimes 4 families, or a downtown type environment. Okay. The current zoning regulations in the Schedule B standards. So if you have an existing, or if you're proposing to have a new lot in an R5 zone or an R4 zone, you are required to have 12,000 square feet, 7,500 square feet, or 5,000 square feet for that lot in order to, yep. You are required to have, sorry about that. 7,500 or 5,000 square feet for a new lot. So if you're carving a piece of land up, each lot has to have that minimum amount of acres or square footage. Okay. Yeah. Now, the R4 and R5 zones also provide for multi-family houses by special permit, 2 family, 3 family, and 4 family. However, for each unit, this is line 2, they are required to have 7,500 square feet additional to just the lot area. Or for an R5 zone, they are required to have 5,000 square feet per dwelling unit. So what that means is in this area that is that dark orange area, which already has predominantly multifamily housing, and most of the cities multifamily housing. The majority, and I would probably say super majority, are pre-existing non-conforming. The reason is many of those lots are, let's say in an R5 zone, they are 5,000 square foot lots, 50 by 100. But technically, for our existing regulation, in order to have a 3 family, you need 15,000 square feet. So for a 4 family, you need 20,000 square feet. Since I have been here, I don't have the best memory, but tried to think about it. I have not approved a single multifamily house. Not one, because you can't do it. It's impossible without variances requiring this to be reduced by potentially 75% or more. So one idea that we had and kind of kicked around was, okay, what if we either reduce this minimum lot area per dwelling unit number or removed it? We can go into those details later, but essentially allow folks who live in the R4, R5 area that is predominantly multifamily housing, but if they have a 2 family that was built pre-zoning and all their neighbors have 3 families that were built pre-zoning, allow them to also build a 3 family without having to go apply for a variance that they really shouldn't get because they don't have a hardship.
You're saying the 2 family become a 3 family by some.
I was gonna say, what are you talking?
Adding
So,
4.
Yeah, so they would add a 4, or they can make an addition or do an interior remodel. But right now, we are not forcing, if someone wants to have a multifamily, they have to go to zoning board of appeals. There's something that zoning, this is a questionable hardship, right? And it's a conundrum within our regulations that in our permitted uses, we allow multifamily housing, but in reality, it doesn't quite job. So one thing we considered was, okay, well, what if we reduced or eliminated or slackened this requirement to allow people to increase their multifamily unit count up to a 4 family, basically keeping the permitted uses the same. But then one of those units has to be affordable.
And which really isn't at the highest tier, which is not very different from what, and sometimes even higher than depending on some of the market rate conditions. So for them, they get an extra unit, or if they're coming from a 2-family and they want to go to a 4-family, you get one market rate, one affordable.
Wouldn't that put a burden on
Burden on-
parking area for additional families? I mean, 5,000 square foot lot is no lot.
No.
And you put 2 family house there, the system, you want to put a 3 or 4, you're adding cars.
Or not.
So, if you do
Also,
that,
it adds a burden on the.
it really
The
does.
homeowner, because they're, whether these big apartment complexes can have the staff to deal with that sort of record keeping, right? I see a burden falling on the town actually to keep
With-
track of these people.
So we, kind of the sidebar conversation, we have reached out to, with Charlie was present, with affordable housing,
Discussion.
administrator, and it is, for a professional to do it, is about $100 per year for a homeowner to have all their paperwork taken care of.
Yeah, it's relatively
And
inexpensive.
it's not, we were educated that it's not a huge hurdle. I
But the
thought it was,
burden would have to be paying the burden.
but most multifamilies. You're not
I
having-
think this needs to be looked at in conjunction with the various use lines. I have difficulty dealing with it in an abstract way. I think we ought to make sure that we're not opening the door for some overly aggressive, high density development that we would not otherwise allow.
But what if there's somebody that comes in and buys a couple of properties in a row, tears them down?
Well, you can't.
So if someone comes in and they buy 4,000 or 5,000 square foot parcel, they now have a 20,000 square foot piece of property,
Which they can build 4.
which they can still only build a 4K, because that's what our permitted uses provide.
And that's not almost that, but-
And I also think that we shouldn't not treat the R3 the same as the R4 and the R5. But I think it needs more careful examination, but I think there is room to consider that thought.
Yeah, I get where you're going. Your motive is to increase our affordable housing units, right? It's a way
That,
to
and
do
also just allow people who buy, we get calls from, oh, my neighbor has a 4-family, he has a 4-family, he has a 4-family, he has a 4-family, I have a 2-family. Well, sorry, like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you obviously don't feel that bad, and you bought the house, you clearly know what you got, but
Right.
it's a little hard to explain to people, well, yeah, there's just built before zoning. And yeah, our regulations say you can have a 4-family, but you don't have the lot area. And that's not a
It's not
once in
really
a
a
while
hardship.
conversation, but that's a
No, makes sense.
consistent.
Right.
It makes
And
sense.
ZBA should not be giving out variances that aren't based on hardships.
So,
So should we have public hearing to get public comment?
yeah, and if it's something that you guys would like us to pursue, we can continue working on it, or if you think that the concerns or hazards, et cetera, are not worth it, then we won't push it.
I think I have no problem with pursuing it, but I just think we really need to think of.
I don't think I would think about going to a public hearing without having your thoughts pretty well organized, though. We're not, you're not ready for a public hearing now.
No, it doesn't have to be in 2 weeks. It could be further on down the line.
If it were simply an elimination of that line, it'd be different, but I don't think that line should be eliminated until we look at Schedule A and somehow or other cover it and create some limitations.
What's the pros and cons?
We have a list of other similar type towns, but they. Maybe we can continue the conversation, just compare a little bit before we decide to public hearing.
What they're saying. Same problems you're saying.
Yeah, what is their, metrics with the lot,
Yeah,
what
right.
area, 4 and 5. And because we want to add affordable housing, we still want some controls, just as we have with every other regulation.
Yeah, they are.
Just in the lot sizing is small.
Yeah.
So, okay, if that sounds good to everybody, then we would just.
Is that, that
end the
district
discussion.
that you're talking about, is that really the riverfront district or? It seems to encompass some of the riverfront. district.
No.
So that's.
That whole Wheeler Street, that's all R3. You don't want to open that up to,
No, no, this is just 4 and 5.
you know,
You know, this is now down. Down here.
Yeah.
This road coming through here, this is Howe Ave.
Well,
But City Hall is right here.
Right.
So it's a lot of the properties around City Hall.
Okay.
Over on Coram. Up towards the library.
And however,
Yeah, in Howe Avenue, not on Howe Avenue, those are commercial, and a lot of them are PDDs now.
Mhm. But that one though is, a corner and a corner of Cornell. Okay, you got the empty lot. That's there.
Yeah, that, actually, that's right, I forgot to bring that up. So, for example, the parcel. The parcel that was currently cleared, that Midland Development has a fence up around it.
Yeah.
one's a 60.
Yeah,
No, next door is, it's
I
going,
know that what
No,
they
that
were,
it is, I know, but this is the empty lot.
yeah, but that was a 16.
I don't remember.
There was
That
a house
fire.
there, yeah, that's fire, yeah.
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 It was parking for free school. I remember the house there.
I mean, there are sites that are vulnerable to more development if we make these kind of changes.
Well, that's
Right,
That's what I was gonna say, there are more areas outside of that area.
yeah, after Blue Lake.
no, I mean, it's the zone. The R4 and R5 zone only exist
There.
in the downtown area. They don't exist on River Road, they don't exist in Huntington, they don't exist anywhere else. I mean, here's the zone.
Yeah.
Here's the city, nothing over here by Trumbull, nothing west of Route 8. It's nothing up here. You come down on River Road, Pine Rock Park, that's R3, that's left out. This area over here, what you call that, kind of by Sunnyside School. That's mostly R3, there is a little bit of R5.
How about if you move up Center Street, Bridgeport Avenue area, off to the left where.
Up Center Street.
Along Hill Avenue.
Right,
Yeah.
right, they're kind of two family fences there too.
That's R2. We changed that last year. That's that R2, Long Hill Avenue now, R2.
All of it, all the way down now?
Yes.
Because when you go to Sullivan Avenue, go Fishwood Avenue, take a look at Sullivan, past Chavez. The lines to the left, the lines to the right, go under Route 8.
Okay, so Long Hill Avenue, sorry, for the current application for.
Yeah.
So that is an R5 zone. So all those homes kind of between City Hall and there, all, they're all three families. Four families. Many most. But the chairwoman had brought up the, as an example, we know this lot is empty. Currently owned by Midland Development, that's 0.15 acres.
Parking lot, 25 acres.
That's 6,500 square feet. That's that clear lot.
Right.
If that was an R5 zone, he could build a single family house.
Single family.
No, he could build a single family house. He could build one unit.
Oh, okay. Right, it is.
Because of the quiet person.
Yeah, okay. All right, so, we agreed then that you're gonna get some more information together, and then at the
I'll knock
appropriate
my head
time,
together with planning.
Yeah. and then some appropriate time, it'll be on the agenda for further discussion. Okay, let's move on to, C, Commission's discussion and approval of a recodified version of the zoning regulations, City of Shelton. Staff wants to present, some information to us. Castro, are you on board with that?
Yeah,
Okay, what do you have for us?
so the recodified version of the regulations only highlights changes that have been made and approved since the last amendment in 2016.
Mhm.
Changes were highlighted in red on the city website. There were the supporting documents of when this was changed. If we load. The dates and the sections that were changed. So we updated definitions, section 23, section 24, schedule A. We updated the planned development districts and designed residential development. Also the off-street parking signs, additional standards in section 45. And missing from here completely was section 47.
Go up to the top, please. Okay, one of the things is, permitted uses, that section, where did it go? Because in that permitted uses, actually, it's,
23.
23, yeah. Okay, area location, bulk standards, yeah, that's where it is. And we put in some things as to what is not a permitted use anymore. So what are you gonna show us tonight besides the
You want to go to section 23?
no, I'm just saying, what did you foresee showing us tonight besides the title page? Were you thinking of showing us each individual section? Or is that something that the commission can review on its own?
The commission could review on their own. This is where the sections were done. We could be here for a long time if we went through this
Yeah.
individually one by one.
Yeah.
So
But the whole point is, there has not been a comma change, period change in what is existing. The red line is all has been put in and inserted as it was approved.
correct.
Okay, the Corporation Council has cautioned us, no, nothing can be changed.
Not even.
There are no changes except for the font at this point.
All right, because my proposal and discussion with staff was, this is step one. Now, I would like to see step two. I find some of these sections very difficult to read. The paragraphs are very long. I don't know how people don't go cross-eyed when they're looking at a specific section. For me, I think just the formatting needs to be addressed. And at that time, if you come across typos or some other grammatical thing, then we could bring it to everybody's attention and decide how it should be handled. So,
Correct.
Why was
Yeah.
it not?
The
it was a consistent one. Instead of using Times Roman, they used Arial. And
I will show you our original. There was not consistency throughout. You'll notice some of the text is one way and it was not very clear. Certain sections are very spaced out from the other.
Even the headings were not consistent.
Correct.
What font did you go with?
Currently, this is Arial. what's on here, presented online, open to suggestion. It was just clear.
Yeah, it's better to just stay with the font that's well-known and well-used rather than going to something that can fall off the, Microsoft table.
Yeah, this is Arial font. If you guys want to recommend a different one, I don't mind.
Arial's fine. Yeah, those are your standard Arial, which used to be alphabetical.
I was making it cursive, why not? It's nice enough.
Yeah, until the cursive
This
font.
alleviates a lot of issues that we're having in the office with, you know, we have applicants or residents that come in and say, you know, we read the regulation this way. It's like, oh no, good thing one of us remembered that something was changed back in 2020 that didn't get put in yet, which sometimes works to the applicant's favor. Sometimes
I continue to look for the change, zone change regarding the cannabis.
So all those things have been included in the version that you're showing us tonight.
correct.
Okay, so it's the responsibility of the commissioners to look at the red line version and that chart, see what has been changed. Where's that chart again, Alexandra?
We are located in the informal consideration portion of the city website.
Okay. That's where it is. So everybody have that chart
And
there.
be recodified.
There's a recodified red line.
Each item has a letter next to it.
Yeah, but where is this? Informal consideration has the chart. Where's the
Text.
Yeah, where's the text version? Where is that? Show us how to get it, find it on the website.
The text version?
Yeah, is it on the main page or?
The big document.
The original?
No, the one with the
The
red
red
line.
line, the red line.
Informal consideration, top one.
It is there as well. Okay, that's all I need to know. Okay, so that will be the plan. Can we, come up with a need to be reviewed by kind of date for the commission? So that staff knows this has been hanging over their heads for a year. What did you wish for? So.
Hopefully,
later. November. So, what's the commission's, feeling on this? Something that's gotta get done. It's not pleasant, but it's.
We have a month?
Yeah, tonight, just throw it out the gate.
I think the month would be good.
Okay, so
So
right now.
for our next regular meeting. And maybe try not to make it a full agenda.
Yeah. All right, next regular meeting would be April 10th. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Okay. I'll be doing the following today. Don't book too early. Okay.
If you find any edits or questions, email them in beforehand.
Yes.
Is there anything that we need to, the commission needs to use as to this is how it was and now this is what it is, or we want to make sure?
Are there any comments posted within the document?
There is only the, well, where'd I go? Resolutions, minutes, whatever, sorry, moving too fast. Whatever was used to make the approval is what is in here.
So where you inserted in red the new or revised language, is it referenced as to when that was approved?
Where am I?
So that would be very helpful.
Yes, right on the main Excel sheet.
Okay, on the chart.
But not within the.
Right.
Not within.
Okay, but is there reference to the page that it's on or whatever?
Yes, so it's we have the reference of each of these supporting documents is labeled. So this would be A. And the date of change, the section that was changed, and the description of the change.
Well, basically, that's what we're doing, just approving those changes.
Right, yes, right, that's on the chart. All right, any further questions from the commission? Mr. Panico?
No, there's a lot to be absorbed, and I presume we've picked up all the possible changes, huh?
That is what we are relying on staff to do.
If you anticipate that.
That's always the biggest problem.
Heavy, then if you add it on to the next
Mhm.
session or something, that would, maybe the commission should just target, and be ready for April 10th, but if
Oh, yeah.
the agenda is too much, then I would not. I suggest.
Some other things maybe push off, push
Yeah.
off instead.
Yeah, just,
So-
it's gonna consume a lot of time, we don't need to be doing this a lot.
No.
No.
All right, so let's move on to deeds.
Um,
Commission discussion to terminate the present one-year moratorium on the acceptance of applications, the use of land or built structures or related activity for a cannabis establishment. My notes on this is the moratorium was approved on March 29th, 2022 to run April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023. A one-year extension of the moratorium expires March 31st of this month, and the commission needs to come to a consensus on how it wants to proceed with this topic. So, what are the thoughts of everyone? Are we, I don't think, another extension would be fruitful for the commission. It's just kicking the can down the road. So, are we at a point where people feel comfortable that an amendment would be required to section 23 permitted uses to prohibit the retail sales of cannabis in Shelton?
Do we need a public hearing for that?
Yes, yeah, I have it in my notes. We just had a public hearing. And actually that is E, if we go that far.
And the commission undertook a planning process.
I'm sorry, say that
Has
again.
the commission participated in some sort of planning process? For something?
We had a public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, before the original one, I mean, that's for sure. And I did find notes that there was a special subcommittee that I had appointed that before came back.
There was, but I'll be
Way
honest,
back.
and I was on that, to be honest with you, I really think that the, because I think everybody really has their own thoughts on this, I don't know that the subcommittee should spend a lot of time hashing it out, and I think it's something that.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that would point out with the.
Oh, there had been, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Was there any documentation by somebody that we could review and look into it, research it a little bit?
No, there was no minutes, it was just an informal subcommittee, and basically we just had so many questions because it had not, it's just been approved, I believe.
At the state level.
At the state level, and there was just so many questions, and it was just so many that we just decided to keep them going until we could,
So
So they looked up the vote.
what's the question now? Decriminalize.
So the moratorium is gonna expire.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's
what would be
It
the,
would be accepting applications, the use of land or built structures or related activity for the cannabis establishment. They're not regulating the use of it. It's regulating
Retail.
retail.
why would we not allow it not to criminalize?
It's just points of, it's just the kind of retail activity that we feel should be is appropriate for Shelton, or do we mind make it a prohibited use? You cannot have.
Which many towns have done.
So that's the question, right?
That is the question.
Many towns have approved it, many towns do not allow it.
And one of the things we talked about was for the towns that allow it, they build regulations around it. So one of the reasons why we had the initial moratorium was to learn more, but also to see if it were to be allowed, where would it fit, where would it go, what sort of zone would it be in? So other than a yes or a no, there's also a if it's here, if it's there, just as we decide other businesses might fit best in certain zones.
Mhm. Yeah, and it would be good to get public input.
Which we did on when we issued the moratorium.
And we knew we had to do another public hearing when this
Mhm.
moratorium ultimately ended.
Mhm.
Either way.
Does
Right.
anyone remember the public input on the original moratorium? Was there any?
There were
It wasn't many.
a couple of people, I think one gentleman came in from Haven. I remember.
There was a couple of people that spoke in favor.
And there was one person in particular, I remember the woman got up and, I think I still have the comments at, in my file, but she was definitely against it. She did that River Road. So, yeah, there's a lot of issues that's down here as well. It's not just fucking guy.
I mean, I think I would love to hear more positive things, but I just think that it shouldn't be, and I'm maybe jumping ahead, so stop me if I am. New paragraph prohibiting retail sales, I would say prohibiting or possible regulatory framework.
But we already prohibit the flow of it.
Right. We're talking about like
Retail.
Retail.
So the only thing to do is set a public hearing so that we can get public input.
Yeah.
The clock is ticking on this. All right,
But what happens once the moratorium?
Right, it would have to
After
be
public
after March
hearing,
31st.
the whole point, we would want to take that chance.
Well, then you need to, I mean, either way, we're not gonna have the public hearing prior to March 31st. So,
And you still have to know.
how long are
27.
meetings going to be?
Yes, but Sam and I will work on that agenda.
Is there any way we could extend the moratorium an extra month or no?
We have to have a public hearing.
Changing the zoning. law.
Yeah.
This cat.
So we either have we either have in the next couple of weeks, we either have a public hearing to extend the moratorium, or we have a public hearing to accept comments. As the chairwoman said, why do we want to keep kicking this down the road? Let's just
We need to amend.
set the public hearing. Because then as long as we've got the public hearing open, nobody can submit applications.
Mhm.
You don't want it to expire and then.
Makes sense.
All right, so is there a motion to set a public hearing? This time.
Do we even have time to advertise before the 29th?
Yep, we do.
Oh, sure.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so on the motion made by Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Perkins to set a public hearing, do a roll call. Commissioner Cristiano?
Aye.
Commissioner McGee?
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky?
Aye.
Commissioner Perkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly? And chair votes aye, motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. So public hearing for this proposal will be held on Wednesday, March 27th.
Can we end the moratorium at that same hearing?
Yeah, we did before.
So it'll be, so the public hearing will be to end the moratorium and.
A separate action could be taken that night. That's how it was done before.
And the way it's gonna work, we're gonna have to take an action for the moratorium's over.
Mhm.
Or at that meeting, we could.
Yeah, that's how we did it before.
We could extend it, right?
Yes.
At that
We
meeting.
can extend.
Yep. Yeah, we have options.
We need a public hearing. That's the problem.
It sure is. All right, item F, 824 referral to release a drainage easement at 65 Farm Horizon Drive. Mr. Izzetti has some information for us. We'll start off with where this came about.
Yeah, there's a existing property owner who has a.
Is it a new property? We just had that property for a while.
65.
You know, who has a driveway, on a city right of way for a drainage easement that we do not need. It was drawn up many years ago. I can find a date for you. Looks like it was filed in 2015. You can pull up Zoom.
This 824 referral, by the way, if you haven't looked at the memo that was online, it came from the city engineer.
It's a drainage utility right of way easement, not utility drainage right of way easement, and we don't need it or have plans to use it, and
City engineer has signed on.
the city engineer signed off on it. He doesn't have any concerns. It's just this green
Yeah, that's
Straight
right.
down here.
What's that easement in back?
That's a actual utility.
Power line or something?
Let me see.
So at the time this particular series of lots was laid out, that drainage, that easement was put in there, it was never used, never required, and
I think that's a strange place to put an easement.
Yeah, it's just a small number.
Something doesn't. In that one.
Maybe it wasn't a subdivision of the back.
There is a water course that kind of runs back through here, but yeah, there's no need for this to be here.
No.
And what precipitated this was the homeowner trying to do something?
I really don't recall. but-
Right.
They try to sell property, you know, on it.
Oh, here it is. The property owner at 65 Far Horizon Drive has requested the easement be removed in order to facilitate the construction of an addition to his home. All right, any questions for Mr. Rossetti? Mr. Panico, do you have any comments?
No, I don't know very much about it. I'm just curious as to why it's labeled on the maps as a right of way, not an easement.
Exactly. All right, so is there a motion to report favorably on the 824 referral?
Who, may I ask a question? Who initiated the request?
The city engineer,
Okay,
there's a memo online under this
Okay.
application for the 824. Is there a second on this motion to report favorably?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Perkins, so I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Cristiano? Commissioner McGee?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucci?
Aye.
Commissioner Perkins? Commissioner Kelly? And chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. Comments from the chair and subcommittee chairs. I did attend a SPZC meeting Tuesday morning, but I didn't gather my notes together to give you a report on that. And in Commissioners Kelly or Parkins and Commissioner Motto's absence, do either of you have any comments from the zone subcommittee?
No, I think we've got a good path forward on the signs, so.
Yeah.
We did that, have gotten through an awful lot of signs today.
I think relate to the rest of the commission, though.
The importance of reviewing them prior to the meeting, because if we come to a consensus that we, are in favor of all of them, if you folks haven't made yourself aware of them, then it's gonna just create more discussion.
But the path going forward is that the applicant has to participate
Is able to participate
in the subcommittee, so that if there's any questions that, any changes, they can deal directly at that time that we're not.
And again, all we can tell the applicant is, if they do not agree with what we're suggesting, we can tell them we can take the road of going to the full commission, but we have the experience of being on the full commission. And we're suggesting you don't take that, so.
Okay. And Mr.
I'd also
Zeddy,
like to just add quickly on that one, that the signs should be uploaded by the end of day, the last Friday of each month, prior to the sign subcommittee meeting. So if any commission member wants to review them prior to the subcommittee, they're available for review as well.
Right, we did change, we're no longer gonna meet on the Thursday
Yeah.
for that, we're gonna meet on Tuesday.
before the following Wednesday meeting, to give an applicant Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
If there's any changes that are recommended, so that they can still get them in on time by Friday.
Okay. All right, any staff comments, Mr. Rossetti? Yeah, so we did our hybrids,
Yeah, so
Zooms?
over winter, we did
all Zoom.
all Zoom. Before that, we were doing the regular meeting. This meeting just via Zoom, because there's generally very little public input, because there's no public hearing.
Right.
It's a public portion at the end. And then the public hearings were in a hybrid form. We were curious if you guys would like to pick that back up again, go back to Zoom, go back. Whatever. So, because we also have to inform the public weeks in advance, and people like, hey, do I need to be, web live? Here's what you guys prefer.
So the third and the second and third meeting of the month are the ones where public hearings would be scheduled. And those are the ones that, at the beginning, that was our thought process. Those would be hybrid. So you can attend in person. People chose to stay home and did Zoom. So, it was always an option. When I sent out text messages to the commission, usually the day before, to say who's attending in person or via Zoom or not at all. So do you all think?
What was the question again? I'm sorry. How would you like the meeting format to be presented? Do you want all hybrid? Last fall, it was the regular meeting, was just in Zoom. And then the following two meetings for special meetings were hybrid. And either way.
The point about the hybrid ones is a lot of times the applicant is not here. That's the whole thing. That's what
they should need to know.
that's sticky point. We're gonna have a hybrid meeting, and commissioners are gonna be here to hear public hearing. The applicant should be here, they should not be up there on the screen.
The commission will attend anyway.
Yeah,
That's second or third.
second, third, meeting.
On the first meeting, that's strictly.
Well, why don't we just go back to what we did before?
that's what we do.
That's the way, yeah,
I mean, I think that worked for,
yeah, we're,
I mean, you listen to people on the social media sites and that, it's 50-50, right? Like some like the convenience, and if they didn't have the convenience, they would say the meeting times are. But being on Zoom, they'll say, no, they should have it in person, none of this Zoom stuff. So you're not gonna make everybody happy, right?
I mean, one thing I will say about Zoom, and so personally, I prefer Zoom because a lot of times, like I'm at work, right? I don't go back up, I just stay there. But I will say that some of the older folks who don't know how to use Zoom,
There will be free classes at the libraries and educate people.
Awesome.
Yeah, but they say that, but then.
How many people are gonna go to those, first of all?
Yeah, but how many of you are gonna take the time to come here either? You're not, on cold nights and rain weather and,
Like the local government.
it's, like I said, you just can't make everybody happy, but I think the hybrid makes that kind of happy meeting. Also time when there's something very contentious, people like to come in a crowd because they can feed off of each other. That's not ideal for us, but that's what they like to do, so.
I think hybrid is, just give everyone the option, whatever you want to do, that's the way I approach it.
But I do think that the commissioners that do, I know Charlie and Gerald and I are usually here, I think the applicant should be. I think the applicant should be there.
Definitely.
Yep, so. We agree.
So, yeah.
Zoom first, 2 hybrids, applicant in person.
And if the applicants are in person, to make sure that we keep doing all the screen sharing, because for those that watch it back, they're really only watching it from a Zoom perspective. So to make sure that the screen is still shared, because they're not gonna see what's really happening in the room, they're gonna see what gets broadcast on the screen. I'm trying to help.
What did you say, the first meeting, the regular meetings would be just Zoom? Yeah, that's what we did before.
Yeah, because I remember Mr. Morrow said, that's a better way to go, to have the second and third meetings to be the hybrid. Have the first one is more suitable than if you only do it by Zoom. So Zoom, 2 hybrids. And I will, just point out that executive session we're supposed to have tonight. Next week.
Oh, yeah. Next week we can accept them for everybody.
And having an executive session.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and you run a risk of.
Well, it's being broadcast.
Or broadcast.
And you can't take that chance. It's just legal matters.
When an applicant is here presenting, would you be okay with one, let's say, there's typically a team, one of them is here so that someone else can control Zoom outside of this room?
Yeah, so make Dominic come and let his,
Engineer.
the engineers and then.
The only thing with, like, for instance, Who's the one that was here tonight, Matt, no, yeah, the one that works for him. That's one of the things, that we have a Zoom, that person's going all over the place. I don't know, what the heck is he referring to?
Yeah,
You know,
it's very simple, if you make just the color person.
Or slow the person down.
Yeah.
Yeah, one way or the other.
So they can mix it up.
Yeah, we can fine tune those sort of things. Does the executive action done?
Yes. Yeah, we have moving matters to discuss. Speed.
No, next week.
You don't want to see? All right, I'm going to table the minutes for another time. Any objection to that? So seeing that there's no other item on the agenda, I declare the meeting adjourned as of 8:57.
They need to either with the signs.
Yeah.
The signs all.
Yeah. Oh, are we on? Did you end it?
Are we ended?
That's good stuff.
Were you guys comfortable in those chairs?